keep grinding, that's the plan G. One day you'll be king, steady dreaming about that Grammy. In a sea of faces trying to stand out, noise drowning hopes, cloud of doubt, no clout. Virtual stage but the spotlight dim, many clicking past ain't feeling his hymn. Waiting for the moment, blow up like a piston. Haters gonna hate, but persistence gonna glisten. Hold tight, 20 turn to 100 someday. Laugh in their face, shouting, who wants some pay?
What up? What up, Twitch? What up, Cosmic? What up, Larry? What up, bots? What up, lurkers? What up, tiny people in the chatterino? It's your boy. Oh. What up, pineapple spoons? You had to know, didn't you? That's what happened. You saw one that said butthole, and you were like, you couldn't hear it. Oh, you didn't give me a chance to turn desktop audio back on. Uh, Hold on, I'll give you a free one. I think you're doing crime. I am confident you're doing crime. Larry's in a mood. uh, Here we go. Here you go, pineapples.
And now it's time to pop up number 7. Oh, that's a butthole.
Yeah, Stampy was here earlier and then he left. So maybe he'll for you. Absolutely. Of course he is, Larry, and we're gonna watch it. Yeah, I don't really have anything. No more complaints than usual. I'd like to live through a boring month, right? You know, not my life is relatively, you know, it's manageable, but the rest of the world is fucking. Could y'all relax for just like a month? Can I get a good month? Can I get a nice quiet month? That'd be cool. That'd be super cool. I don't think we're doing that, but you know, it'd be cool. It'd be a lot cooler if you did. Oh. So yeah. Let's watch some videos. Fuck it. I don't have anything to talk about. First up, a fun little video about a cat and its leaping distance.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mike here.
Amazing. I love that. Next up, real quick, before we get into the AI related content, we often make the joke of can it play Crysis? And then this video popped up in my shit from relatively recently, a day ago. So we're gonna watch this.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and today we are talking about.
What the fuck? Did y'all not get to see the fucking? That's what I get for not looking at fucking motherfuckers. All right, let's try this one more time with feeling. The cat.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Mike here
And now, the Crysis thing.
at Game From Scratch, and today we are talking about CryEngine.
and specifically, what the heck is going on with CryEngine. Now, CryEngine at one point in time was one of the most exciting game engines available, considered to be a bit of a meme in terms of the power that it could scale up to use on the hardware of the day. The expression, yes, but can it run Far Cry, was used to refer to powerful PCs all the way up to supercomputers. It's still.
Did people say, can it run Far Cry? I thought people said, can it run Crysis? I don't think I've ever heard anyone say, can it run Far Cry?
Used to this day. People still make that joke. Yeah, but can it run Far Cry? And there's a reason for that. Far Cry was a damned pretty game. It still is today, even though this was released back in 2004. And that is the beginning of CryEngine. CryEngine actually started life as a tech demo for NVIDIA that was evolved into a game engine that was ultimately used to create Far Cry. Now, paradoxically, today, you could look at CryEngine as being one of the most successful.
And don't get me wrong, I haven't played a Far Cry game that I haven't enjoyed, right? Like, it's just enough, like relatively realistic shooter combined with, some shenanigans. In Far Cry Primal, no, CryEngine, like CryEngine. Far Cry Primal is one of my favorite games I've ever played. Like being a like Cro-Magnon or, early fucking human and, spears and shit like that. It totally made sense, right? Like I'm gonna literally craft a spear so that I can fucking spear shit. And going toe to toe with the woolly mammoth will fucking humble you, dude. So yeah. What up, Hydran?
Failed game engines or the most biggest failure success of game engines today, depending on how you want to look at it. It's on the verge of irrelevancy, which is kind of insane because it has also been used to make billions of dollars worth of games. So there is a paradox going on there with CryEngine, and we're going to look today at what's going on with CryEngine and what we can expect from it in the future. But first, we need to look a little bit at the past. So CryEngine has been used to make a ton of high-profile games over the year. Ubisoft actually acquired the license to Far Cry IP, which is how they started things out. And then on top of that, Crytek also licensed them CryEngine, which they've used to this day, all the way up to the release of Far Cry 6. Ubisoft used their own custom fork of it they called Dunia. Now, we don't know how much at the end of the day of Dunia was still based off of the old CryEngine they licensed years back. Of course, they've added to it and took stuff out and so on. So things evolved massively since that initial release. But all the way up to Far Cry 6, the Dunia engine was actually used internally at Ubisoft. Now, they have kind of stopped with that code base, so that is a thing of the past. I believe Far Cry 6 is going to be the last game in the series that has ties back to CryEngine. But that's a pretty damn good legacy. And those games alone have probably sold well over $1 billion for the entire franchise. And then speaking of forks, CryEngine was also licensed to Amazon. When they launched their doomed Amazon game division, Amazon decided they wanted to get into gaming in a big way, and they wanted to have a common game engine between their studios. So they licensed CryEngine, I think it was CryEngine 3.3, somewhere in that neighborhood, and they rebranded it as Lumberyard. Of course, they started doing their own thing with Lumberyard, added the gem system, did a whole bunch of changes, etc., and they used it internally for a couple of projects. Most of them didn't work out that well. Amazon Gaming just was not a successful venture, probably the most successful thing that came out of them. And the highest profile Lumberyard title, -1, would be New World. And New World is still being developed to this day, has sold pretty well. It's probably the biggest success that Amazon has seen, I would say, for sure. And then there is another licensee of Lumberyard, and that is Star Citizen. Now, Star Citizen itself, I think, has made close to $1 billion at this point.
Star Citizen looks wild. Like, this is, like, I never want to play full price for a game. And Star Citizen just has me like I literally can't look at it because the temptation is too high. Yeah. And I already don't play enough of the games I already own.
point. Star Citizen started off life as a CryEngine based game, and then when I think more or less what it boiled down to is once Amazon made more preferential licensing terms available, they ported over and basically went from there. I think it was just a way for them to save money. And at this point in time, Star Citizen has so modified that game engine, we don't know how much CryEngine still.
No, that's the thing, Hydran. I love No Man's Sky. I played a little bit of X4, which I guess No Man's Sky took a lot from either X4 or from the X series, right? A similar kind of thing. And, excuse me, also I would like to play Star Citizen. Those games are like right up my alley. They're exactly, just the idea that I could lose forever playing, a space game. And like, I have a dream of y'all watching me play X4 and like I'm, listening to fucking some of my favorite music. I find that highly unlikely. The game streams don't exactly like do well, and that's totally understandable, but like it would just be a vibe.
Exists. We also don't know if that's a real game or not at this point in time, or just a.
I've done gaming streams before. The most recent one I played with Girl with Gun and Redolent Thought, and we played some Borderlands 3, and I had a lot of fun.
Money-making machine. So, Crytek also continued to use CryEngine in-house for several games over the last decade. This includes titles like the Crysis series, which again are stunningly pretty. We've got Rise, Son of Rome, The Climb, 1 and 2 VR titles, and probably their most successful title, at least in recent years, is the Hunt Showdown series. It's also used by third parties to make games such as MechWarrior Online, which I was a massive addict of, Homefront Revolution, Prey, the reboot in 2017, not the original one that was built off the Quake engine, State of Decay, Wolfenstein, Lord of Mayhem, and probably the most high-profile recent release using CryEngine is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which was based off of Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, which used a highly modified version of CryEngine that they have continued to modify in-house. So even right up till 2025, there are still very successful games being shipped using the CryEngine at this point in time. So with such a storied history and 2 recent games delivered using CryEngine,
I tried to get into Kingdom Come Deliverance, the first one. I don't do well with that first person sword fighting. It's just it like I can't get it. The closest I ever got to that kind of thing was For Honor, which was third person, I believe, if I recall correctly. For Honor was I really enjoyed that game a lot. Just enough of the what you call it, the samurai series, where you would go and you would fight these mass battles and take out soldiers, right? Just a bit of that, but then human beings that you could fight and like that. And I think it had a nice balance because you could mob people, right? Just back them in and have all the little guys be beaten up on them. It was neat. I enjoyed it. I couldn't get my hooks into Kingdom Come Deliverance.
it clearly must be alive and kicking, right? Right? Well, that's where it starts to get tricky. CryEngine is still obviously being developed and updated by Crytek, especially for their Hunt games. Now, the Hunt games are definitely what have kept Crytek in business.
And Hunt, I really wanted to like it, and I don't know, it just didn't hit me. I was more confused than I really understood what I was supposed to accomplish on any given, board, mission, what have you. Hunt Showdown, yeah. Trying to go and find I would wander around and, not really seem to be able to, intuitively figure out what I was supposed to be doing. I did enjoy the fact that I came in through a window and I hit the big bad with some sort of firebomb, and then I jumped back out the window it had some neat moments, and it seems like a fun game if you really like it and you can get into it. I know a bunch of people who play it. It's just not for me, dog.
Got to be honest here. Which have become live service titles with continuous updates. So there's where the most of the development for CryEngine is focused on facilitating the Hunt series of games. Now jumping into the present and looking at the future, that's where things start to look a lot more ominous for CryEngine and Crytek. So Crytek themselves announced a new version of Crysis in the works.
Yeah, it's been going on since last night. Israel hit Iran, Iran hit Israel, and the last thing I heard was that Israel hit Iran again. It's not good.
Back in 2022, but earlier in 2025, it was announced that it was put on hold. At the same time, Crytek announced layoffs of 15% of its workforce of around 400 people. That would be 15% of 400, not that 400 was 15%. They did, however, during these layoffs, announce the CEO saying he believes in the future of Crytek. We will continue to expand and evolve Hunt Showdown 1896 with great content and drive our strategy for our engine CryEngine.
No, I honestly expect a relatively low viewership tonight due to the ongoing events, right? Between the protests and the Iran-Israel thing. I don't expect I expect a lot of people to be veering towards news and less towards like AI. And I get it, right? Like it is what it is. What up, Bravo?
So they're still investing into CryEngine, as they've publicly stated, in 2025. So CryEngine is still a focus at Crytek, and still people are working on it. Now, what about third-party developers that want to license it? That's like where you and I kind of people come in. With the release of CryEngine 5 all the way back in 2016, Crytek moved CryEngine to a royalty-based model with a 5% of revenue royalty. Since then, we saw several updates until CryEngine 5.7 LTS version, which was released in April of 2022. Since then, nothing. Nada, zip, zilch, nothing. At least not publicly. There was a presentation about software ray tracing and Android platforms at GDC. I believe that was 2023. I do not believe those were ever publicly made available.
Yeah, I'm really glad the Pakistan-India thing didn't escalate. Like they went, some distance, and then cooler heads prevailed, and that's, generally a good thing. Definitely got to figure out a longer term solution to the border questions and everything else, but just an ongoing fallout of colonialism going all the way back. So
Available. There was an update to the public-facing documentation system in 2024 and nothing else. It was also stated on their Discord servers that the 5.7 branch would be the last public release of the 5.x branches. So privately, or at least internal to Crytek, CryEngine is still being updated, but details are somewhat sparse. They announced that CryEngine 5.11 for the Hunt Showdown in 2024. This added support for next-gen consoles, end-of-lived earlier consoles. In the 5.11 release were several performance improvements, under-the-hood tech debt fixes, new designer tools, as well as a new UI framework replacing the old Scaleform UI system, with Scaleform basically being a dead product at this point in time. Problem is, 5.11 was never made available to the public. So if you start with CryEngine today, you're getting CryEngine 5.7 LTS.
What's neat is like I understand that this is, the development view of that of the whatever, right? Like whatever game this is. But like what's interesting is it's really intuitive to figure out what these, all these things are, which I thought was really neat. Like anytime you see this little blue square with this shape in it, this is a vaultable or climbable thing, right? That's what the arrows indicate. This is something that you can climb on here. I'm not sure what the squares are, right? Those could be like an event trigger, something like that. But it's neat. It's really neat. I actually ran it through Gemini. Bravo. I am not a robot. What kind of unusual traffic? So I did run it through, and I briefly looked over it. And if I'm understanding this correctly, this is like in the realm of like nanotech and like this programmable matter and stuff like that. It's an interesting idea, but like we have to see something, in actual development and availability.
Basically being a dead product at this point in time. Problem is, 5.11 was never made available to the public. So if you start with CryEngine today, you're getting CryEngine 5.7 LTS. The fact that they're also not making this available publicly to the version that you or I can download is a little discouraging about how much they care about these developer relationships. They just don't seem to be going on there. So, in a nutshell, that is as much as we can say. It looks like Crytek are still committed to the development of CryEngine. They are still supporting it for their own games and a handful of other developers. Unfortunately, to people like you or I that are trying to evaluate if we should use this going forward, 5.7 LTS version, no. Don't do it at all. Now, is there the possibility that we will see a CryEngine 6 and they will reboot their developer program and it becomes a worthwhile engine to license? Definitely. But the radio silence over the last several years, and again, Crytek was never really great at being an engine vendor in terms of offering support and documentation, etc. anyways. So unless there's sort of a realignment and a big reveal for CryEngine 6, which personally I would love to see happen, but as it stands right now, if you're looking at CryEngine 5.7 and thinking, should I start and make my game with it? The answer is probably no. Are we going to see CryEngine in the future? Don't know. Can't tell you that, unfortunately. So ladies and gentlemen, that was a...
Well, that was helpful. Is this a thing? Yeah, maybe, maybe not, probably not. Could be good, could be shit. Yeah, no, like every day we have new and interesting developments and shit, you know what I mean? And it's always like, okay, here's the paper. Now I got to see something in execution, right? Like here's a new paper on a particular kind of like AI architecture. And then who's going to do it, right? Who's going to give me the thing that I can actually use, What up, Ribbons? Could be, Larry. I mean, I honestly have never given a shit what engine a particular game is in. I'm either going to play it and have a good time, or I'm going to play it and not have a good time. I'm also like relatively forgiving, right? If you give me like something that I have a lot of fun with, and then occasionally there's like a little glitch or whatever, I'm not gonna hold you, right? Like it's just a thing that happens, right? Perfection is the enemy of good enough. But if like I run into, I'm playing your game and I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do, then I'm gonna bail, right? And that's like Hunt Showdown is an example of a game where I really couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do. And on the other hand, people talk about Cyberpunk 2077 like it's still buggy. And it's like, I'm having a wonderful fucking time. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, and that's the thing, Bravo. I don't really play online with other people except in like a co-op capacity. PvP is just not my thing. And, I'm the first one to tell you, like, I'm a 50-year-old man on the internet playing video games, and people who are younger and have more skill and like they got their fucking sensitivities dialed way up and shit, and they can just like do shit. I got this asshole friend of mine who I love. But he's always a sniper in a game like that because he will notice that one pixel change in something from across the fucking map, and then boom, you got a canoe for a head, right? Like he's that kind of guy. It's annoying as shit, right? And you know, it's fun to play with my friends because we can do that for a while and then do something else or change up the nature of the game that we're playing. Um, but generally, I don't fuck around online PvP. You know, I'm not going up against young kids and having a good time, and that's the only thing I care about. Am I having fun? Do I got difficulty turned on this particular game down to easy? Sure. I don't care, right? Like I'm not here for a challenge. I'm here for a good time, baby. Up next, new Nate Jones.
I want to suggest that
Sorry, slightly old Nate Jones, but I wanted to get to it. Most of us are using AI backwards. I don't even know what that means. I enjoyed Titanfall 2 a little bit. It was cool. I'm not a huge fan of wall running. You know, just that kind of timing is like it just annoys me with everything else going on. I prefer like grappling hook mechanics over a wall running mechanic. You know what I mean?
most of us are using AI a little bit backwards. Stay with me. This is worth it. We are using AI primarily for information compression. So take my meeting notes and turn them into really neat outputs. Take this large product requirements doc, turn it into this for engineers and this for my executive stakeholders. Take this 100-page PDF and turn it into something succinct. Take Nate's super long Substack and make it into something I can digest. I kid you not, people do that.
Like, I enjoyed the Dying Light parkour shit. I thought that was a lot of fun, right? Dying Light, the first one, like, for those of you who don't know, Dying Light zombie game, right? And there's the regular ass zombies, and then there's the fucking zombies that come out at night. And I remember being in that game, and it, you know, it does the like the tutorial type event of the first night when the big bad zombies come out, and it's dark, and I'm like hiding in a shack because I have no weapons, right? Like I'm not gonna be able to fight these. I mean, I could, you know, hit them with the stick or whatever, but like I don't have the like weapons to go up against these, and I'm on the ground, and I get in this shed and I'm hiding out, and they're running past all around me, and I'm just like shh, and it had me in that vibe of like, what would you do if all the fucking shit is you just shut the fuck.
Kind of hilarious. The point is we're using it to compress information. But something that I heard that's been really sticking with me is the idea that the brain doesn't process compressed information in the same way. And one of the things that we need to learn to think about is when do we want to tolerate less brain time on a subject versus when do we want to actually optimize our partnership with AI so we spend more brain time marinating in what really matters. So a lot of the learning that you get when you read a large book, a deep book on a big subject, it comes from your brain forming new connections as it spends extended time in the subject. If you get, and you can, a very short one-pager, you will get a précis, a summary, an executive briefing on the book. You are unlikely to have the kind of life-changing experience that you had if you really dipped into it. Now, there are people who will take that insight and say, wow, so AI is the problem. I actually think the way we use it is the problem. Not that it's bad to use it for compression. I too use it for adjusting my meeting notes. I too use it for sending different messages to different stakeholders for routine business communication. But if you need to do really deep thinking, you need to spend time on a subject, you need to optimize your cognitive workload to enable you to do your best thinking. And AI actually can really help with that. And I'll give you a specific example. I am contemplating writing a book on AI. Writing a book is a hard task. It's much harder, exponentially harder than a single article. It needs to be useful, especially with AI, some of the challenges in having something that stands the test of time, etc. And I find that when I'm contemplating writing a book, The thing that is most difficult for me, it's not the information compression. It's not that I need it to go out and tell me all the news about AI. I already get plenty of news, trust me. It's that I need to work with AI in a way that helps my brain expand and kick around the subject matter. And we don't really optimize for that when we only talk about prompting, because prompting really optimizes for one-way communication.
It's a tool like any other. It's organization. You're not. You're so. If you think of it like this, Hydron, what's interesting about a book, right, are the ideas contained within the book. And the act of putting the words together is just so that it can facilitate the transfer of knowledge. But there's only a limited amount of ways that the words can go together and make sense. So if I'm supplying the ideas, right, and then AI is putting the words in a particular order so that I can communicate those ideas, that facilitates me being able to take my ideas and get them across to other people, right? It's very similar to the concept of using a ghostwriter, right? Where we're going to write a book. I'm going to provide you with the, ideas, maybe some stories, etc., and then you, as the ghostwriter, are going to actually turn that into a book. That's what the AI does in that scenario, right? It's not typing in a 1-2 sentence prompt, write me a book on, power and politics and why bad behavior is almost always good politics and like that. It's going in and it's like, I have these ideas. Right. You got to be collaborative with it. Otherwise, remember, you're going to be signing your name to it. And that's why it's important to approve whatever's in there.
Learning how to prompt well is a skill, but it's sort of like learning to ride a bicycle versus learning to drive a car. Both are helpful. The car is going to take you farther if you learn how to do it well. And I think increasingly prompting is like the bicycle.
Right. And that's what, when I talk about art, I got props now. When I talk about art, right, there are two sides of art, generally speaking. You have the artist side, and the artist side is the relationship between the artist and the work, right? This is where I am going to engage with the work. I'm going to speak to it. It is going to speak to me. We are going to create the thing, and I'm going to say what I want to say or express what I want to express, what have you. And then the other side of that is the observer. And some observers only care about the image itself and how it makes them feel, and other people care about that process that the artist went through. Same with writing, right? Like, I don't particularly give a shit about Ian Banks's process when it came to writing Consider Phoebus, right? I just don't. I care about the ideas that are contained within the book. I care about how I am going to interact with the book and what it's going to say to me in its finished form. Some additional knowledge about how he wrote this at a particular time in a particular place and et cetera, it doesn't mean a lot to me. And that's just how that is, right? And that's fine. Right? The people who like there are advantages, I guess, to understanding a particular artist's process, but there are also distractions from the alternative point of view, right? Like, I don't necessarily want an interference in how I interact with the art. Like I don't get, they named it whatever and they're trying to say something that's cool, and I'm glad they were able to do that. But I might feel something completely different from observing a piece of art, and then when you find out what the process is or the name of the piece or any of that stuff, it can actually interfere with that appreciation of the art. What up, Ghost? Is that the wrong chat? Thank you, though. I'm glad I'm your side piece here. AI could simply be used to bounce your ideas off of. Yeah, no, and it's great for like, I have a bunch of ideas, right? Let's say I'm going to sit down with AI and write a book, right? In whatever way satisfies whoever. I could just fire off a bunch of ideas, right? And then ask, yeah, but it's not relevant to what we're talking about, Ghost. Like, I could just rattle off a bunch of ideas, right? Like, I think that this scene would look really cool, and I think that this would be cool as an idea for like how this civilization developed and any of these other ideas. And then I could ask the AI, can you help me organize these into what could be a coherent outline for my book? And then boom, I got that. Right? You know, what is the development? And if this is a point that I want to get to in a character arc, where would be a good process for, you know, getting there, and what's a good starting point and all that kind of stuff, you know? And it like tutor you, so to speak, through the process of making a book. Why didn't we get an alert? Thank you, Ghost. You don't have to pay for your transgression. There's no punishment here. I appreciate the fact that you subbed, but like, you know, I understand. I don't do multiple tabs that often. And when I do, it's one on the phone and then one on the computer. And then I have like the computer coming through one ear and the phone coming through another. But like I can understand how people could have, you know, the wrong tab, multiple tabs, all that kind of thing. Yeah, I feel you.
Skill. It's incredibly efficient if you master it. Everybody should know how to do it. It should be a universal skill. I do think we're going to need it for a while. I think it provides a durable.
I get that too, Hydran. The only stream I use Chatterino with is this one, and that's just because I can have Chatterino above. Like I'm watching this video on a full screen, and then Chatterino is in the upper corner. So I can look at the video and still see chat. Otherwise, I also have chat on the other monitor, but then I got to turn and look over this way, and then I'm not intaking the video anymore, and that's that thing. But the only thing I watch in Chatterino is my own. Everything else I do right through the Twitch app.
Edge if you can ride well, if you can prompt well, and I love it. But if you can learn to actually cognitively partner beyond an individual prompt with AI, that's like driving a car. That's like actually going farther. And so in my case with the book, just to circle back, I spent 25 minutes in advanced voice mode talking with OpenAI. And it was, I think they used.
That's another great example, right? I can turn on the voice mode of any given AI, right? Because they all seem to be having it nowadays. And I don't even have to like type my thought. I could just fucking stream of consciousness different ideas, right? And the AI will scribe that for me, write all that shit down, right? And my brain definitely works faster than my fingers when I'm typing. So, like, you know, that's another way you can go about it. And I've done that, you know, for different projects before with mostly with ChatGPT back in I was using that. I actually haven't used Google's voice mode at all yet. And that's weird.
is like a variant of their 4.0 model in advanced voice
What up,
mode.
X1011?
And you might be
Exactly.
waiting for me to say, I had the most profound insights. Like the AI really helped me. It really wasn't that. In fact, I sometimes told it, this is really vanilla. I don't love this. What it was that was distinct and special was it was there when I needed.
You should not be able to do that, Larry. You should not be able to publish your Meta AI chat logs. Like or I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to. There could be some reason I'm not aware of, and that's fine. It should be extremely challenging to do so. You need to be able to have to put in a lot of intent in order to get to that point, in my humble opinion.
Needed to talk out loud, it would let me talk out loud for a while. It actually listened, it actually took notes, and it actually responded with just enough interest, engagement, and riffing to keep my brain flowing so I could keep the idea coming. Because I had an idea that I wanted to talk out. I knew I couldn't just dictate into a transcription device for 25 minutes and get it. But if I had someone talk back to me in the right cadence, I'd probably be able to fish it out of my brain because we're conversational people. And so,
and there's a whole thing about if you're trying to remember something on your own, then you have an attention span of like 7 seconds, something like that. This is some brain science shit from a book, from a lecture series, the great lectures and that kind of shit. But if you're doing it with another person, if you're engaged in a conversation, that expands to 20 seconds, right? So you can hold ideas in your head longer when they're shifted to the part of the brain that's talking and engaged in conversation than if you just try to hold on to it on your own. It's interesting shit, and I think AI facilitates that.
Conversational AI was the right choice. In this case, advanced voice mode really has gotten better since they shipped that update that makes it, more aware of when it interrupts you. It uses more discontinuities verbally, like and It just sounds more natural, and it allows you to forget it's there and just focus on the subject, which is what I needed to do. That's just step one. I did the verbal piece, and then the second piece was I really needed to wrestle with what the terrain of the idea looked like, and I knew 4.0 wasn't strong enough to do it. And so instead of trying to force it inside that conversation, I literally pulled the transcript out into a Google Doc and I stuck it into O3 as a raw transcript. And I said, this is a transcript. This is my perspective on the transcript. This was the intent I had with this idea. Really, this is where I iteratively arrived. Because I find that a lot of time when you're talking out loud, you're sort of naming the work as you go. And that's part of the cognitive journey that we've kept inside our heads for 200,000 years. And now we have a partner to do it with. And it's true that, like, sometimes if you did paired work together with humans, you could kind of get to this. But I actually think it's a distinct dynamic with AI. I have not worked, and I worked in offices, right? I've worked in person with teams. I love that dynamic. I don't want it to go away when we work well together with good human colleagues. But it's not the same as a good AI colleague. An AI colleague that you can brainstorm with in that way, where they listen and just riff with you. It's like this crossover between the way a therapist listens to you and the way a colleague listens to you. And you'd never expect a human to do that, but it's super helpful for your thinking. So we do that. We name the work. We get to O3 through the Google Doc. O3, and honestly, it's not just O3. I don't want to just rep OpenAI here, right? Like, you can go and do this in Opus, the Claude model, Opus 4. You could do this in Gemini 2.5 Pro. You'd get similar results. The idea is you want to think deeply and critique the model results that you get from the 4.0 conversation. Basically, take my intent, take what I was able to articulate, take the riffing that advanced voice mode did, and help me get to a crystal clear understanding of the heart of the idea. That's what you want in the next step. It's basically help me to define the coordinates of the terrain that I'm in now that I've named the work. And once we do that, the sky becomes the limit. We can open up to understanding what are the partnership dynamics that work from here. So as a specific example, I thought O3 did a good job getting to the heart of the thesis for the book. I thought the outline felt a little bit heavy. I need to go into a different model. I'll probably choose Opus 4 for this to start to refine what that looks like a little bit more. I need to pick a different cognitive partner. And if you're wondering, how do I pick models? I put a whole thing up on Substack on how I sort of pick models for different tasks. To me, I think the piece that I keep coming back to, stepping back, reflecting on all of this, is that I find the most value. Like, this is real expense, right? Like, I'm a pro subscriber to OpenAI, right? Like, I pay my $200 a month. Not everybody has to. I don't think you have to get a ton of value out of it. I saw the article that said, is free so good that you don't need plus? I think for a lot of people it is. But for me, whatever your investment level is in AI, the value you get is so much greater if you use it in this way, as a way of getting your brain time on subject, optimizing for time on subject, versus optimizing for just compressing and repurposing information. Most of the use cases I see from companies, if they are not super fluent in AI, end up being around compressing and repurposing information, which is fine. There are some cost savings there. But helping your brain work better has a lot more upside over time. And I think we talk about it a whole lot less. And I wish we would talk about it more. I wish we would not get so far into the compression trap that we don't think about.
And I think this is an interesting counterpoint to the, AI is making people dumber. AI is, affecting our ability to critically think. All those kind of arguments is, are we using AI the right way? the right way. Are we using AI the right way? And like, how do we extract the maximum advantage from the interactions on both sides? And I think that, as usual, Nate has very cogent points to deliver on that subject. Like, this is, yeah, like there is a way to go about it where you can improve the human and utilize the AI. You know what I mean?
About this idea that AI can help us map and expand the cognitive territory that we work in.
All three of you hit enter at the same time. I watched a video about O3 Pro from a developer. I found it interesting.
We have aboard. Lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Resistance is futile.
I'll get back to y'all in 1 second. What up, Raider? Even though most of you know who James is, still shout out James. We will not be talking about news, or at least very, very specific news. What up, Raiders? I'm Global CL there to talk about AI, automation, robots, and future tech. And I also say, just smoke the weed, kids. What up, VCCTV? What up, Shiny? What up, Allie? What up, Big Ben? What up, Becca? Good. It's a good way to be right now. No GNUs is good GNUs with Gary GNU. What up, Cicero? What up, Ben One Eye? Welcome in, everybody. We're just finishing up this video. Most people are using AI backwards. We got a lot of content. Absolutely none of it related to any of the ongoing current events that you were just experiencing. What up, Barkeater J? What up, Textilian? What up, CMS? What up, Koshka? So if you need to decompress from all that, you should stick around. We're gonna learn some stuff. where do I say the just smoke the weed kids thing? James features it the most, and occasionally Jason Society will use it. He's got a command in his chat, exclamation point Globus. And it all comes from a stoner cast we did way back when, where people were talking about like, oh, this is the alien death baby cake 2000, and it's got like 95% THC in it, the cannabinoids and the, you know, the whatevers. And then, oh, I got this fucking student glass fucking, you know, compression engine vape system, and it literally blows smoke out of the back of my skull. And I'm sitting there with my bowl and my homegrown, and I'm like, just smoke the weed, kids, right? Like, y'all are wild, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy some of the things that y'all have come up with. But I was talking with a friend of mine just the other day. You know what would be cool? You know what would be cool is if I could score some of that just regular ass weed that we used to get back in the day. You know, the weed kind. It didn't have a name. It just, you would smoke it. You and a buddy would smoke an entire joint, and you would just be kind of high. And then you would go do some shit. As opposed to like 2 puffs off a joint of this Omega Death Baby 5000. And I'm like that couch kid all melted into it. And I live in a legal state. What up? I'm just me. What up, Octosquiddies? Oh, I hate it here. So maybe it had a few seeds in it, right? Where you could take those seeds and you would chuck them outside or stick them in the thing. You would try to grow. You would have some little ass plant sitting in your window. You know, just really basic shit, right? There's something to be said for that. You know, I don't need to be so high I see through time. Is what I'm saying.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
I love the young people.
I do love the young people. No, Michael went ahead and he created it over here as well, and that's the first usage. Growing can be fun, right? Like I used to grow homegrown outside, and in buckets, right? Like I was a bucket grower, and it's cool. Right? It's just the fact that I can get a $5 pre-roll that's like, you know, like bigger than my finger, right? And the fact that I can, you know, like again, 1-2 hits, I'm good, and then I'm going to go on about my business. And that cost me $5. It's not worth the time investment to me to do that. Know what I mean? All right, let's wrap this fucking video so we can eventually get... Oh, we're going to watch an Anthony Fantano video in which he says that AI music is evil. That should be fascinating.
By partnering with us in a way that is, you know, somewhat reminiscent of what we would do with a human, but also distinct. I also, you know, just as I said, I wouldn't ask a human to do the kind of listening that I asked advanced voice mode to do. I also wouldn't really
Sorry about this. I know it's a bit silly.
It's a bit silly.
Just a moment. Just a moment.
Whatever, Reed.
A human to work on sharpening my thesis for an outline the way I would ask O3 to do it. I wouldn't ask a human to go and like necessarily.
Fantano is WTF and Strawman.
Do the research and do the thinking and the, for lack of a better term, cognitive shaping on the thesis with.
Oh, you got denied. Fucking Twitch. Fucking Twitch. Twitch do be twitching today.
What the fuck? This guy is not coherent. What is going on?
Everything is going extremely well.
Extremely well.
Look at this chart. Let's bring it up.
What am I looking at here?
I don't know, but it doesn't look good.
That looks bad.
Yeah, it's probably bad.
It's probably bad. Oh, yeah, Strawman didn't fire off when I did it either. So, who knows?
Me, it's not just doing it on its own, that I would ask of Opus 4. Opus 4 is great for shaping ideas and really thinking through concepts. And so I'm finding in a sense that my brain is able to think better by spending more time with AI models if they're carefully modulated. It's not just throwing prompts in there. There's no secret prompt to this. It's deciding the kind of task I need and then making sure that I approach AI and ask myself, what is the model that I can choose that will most help me to optimize for getting my brain deeply into the subject matter so that I become someone who truly understands it. That in and of itself is opposed to...
You shouldn't get a perpetual one. There is a 30-second cooldown so they don't get like spammed. Right? It should be set up so that like if a bunch of you just did, right? You drop the WTF, the going well, and the probably bad almost all at once. And so they played out in series, which is what you want. You don't want them overlapping on each other because then it's fucking a redolent thought stream. But yeah, no, like that's probably fucking Twitch fucking you over. If you're on mobile, maybe uninstall, reinstall the app if you want to go through that. But yeah, Twitch, baby.
It's antithetical to this idea that AI lets you go cheap on your brain, right? It lets you skip the brain power. It lets you not do the work. It lets you read the one pager, not the full book. I don't think it has to. I think it can actually help you to think better. I find it does.
Alas, I have
But
become
it's how
too
you
weak
use it.
from the technology, and I cannot even hold it. And now I have the plague.
True.
And it's not to say at all that, like, again, I started this by saying I use the compression stuff too. I think we all do. We all will. It helps us save time. It's about knowing when to sort of pull the thinking button and say, I want to use this to actually expand my time thinking about this because this is really important. This is work that needs and deserves the cream of my brain. And I need to orient my approach to AI so that I can spend more time marinating on this in a way that works for my brain. And part of why there's no magic prompt for this is our brains are wired pretty uniquely. The way I choose to like walk around and talk my ideas out loud may not work for everybody. There are people for whom they need to write it out by hand, take a picture of it, get a transcription, and maybe that's the way they start. I think your mileage is going to vary because your brain varies, but the concept of optimizing for having your brain in the subject is something that allows us to view AI as an expander, not just as a compression tool. It's something that optimizes for what we can create, not just how we can cut costs by compressing information, even if that's useful. So thinking
up next, apparently there was a unhinged AI commercial.
Thinking about this was helpful for me. I hope it kind of turns the wheels for you, maybe helps you think about AI a bit differently. And try out advanced voice mode, it's fun.
Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief. Advertising. Now, this is a space that I've spent some time. For a long time, more than a decade ago, I was working on a company that helped introduce big advertisers and big brands to new startup platforms that they might want to advertise and market with. Then, of course, I had my stint where I was making a huge volume of major national campaigns and Super Bowl ads and things like that. And so even though I'm not in this space anymore, I definitely keep a side eye towards AI's particular implications for it. And it's been very clear for some time that there were going to be major implications for advertising and marketing when it came to AI. Now, this is an industry that has jumped headlong into this space. It's one where already creativity is in service of commerce, and so perhaps some of the barriers that have stopped other industries, or at least slowed them down when it comes to the adoption of AI, haven't so much applied when it comes to advertising and marketing. Instead, the constraint has been more around just what's actually possible. In a recent speech that I did, I was talking about why the speed of AI development is accelerating. And one of the things that we were talking about was the fact that each time models advance, it actively opens up new use cases. In other words, you're not just doing the same thing you did before, but a little bit faster, or a little bit better, or a little bit cheaper, although that might be part of it too. It's that there are things you simply couldn't do before that are now possible. One big version of that recently, or one big unlock, was when Google dropped VO3. The biggest difference with VO3 is that it had built-in sound. Previously, if you wanted to make, for example, a 30-second ad using generative media, you could do it. You could use Sora or VO or Higgsfield or whatever to create a video, and then you could use 11 Labs to create audio for it and match it up. All of that was possible. And while it was, of course, a heck of a lot faster than an entire shoot and filming session, it was still a fairly complicated and complex endeavor. Then Google drops VO3, and all of a sudden you can just build your sound and the action of the video right into the prompting. It took less than a month for that new capability to turn into an actual ad airing on major network TV. Earlier this week, AI filmmaker PJ Ace tweeted, "Kalshi hired me to make the most unhinged NBA Finals commercial possible. Network."
They did, in fact, not hire him to make the most unhinged commercial possible. No.
Network TV actually approved this GTA-style madness. High dopamine VO3 videos will be the ad trend of 2025. So for those of you who don't know, Kalshi is a legal betting site where you can bet on anything. And let's look at the ad that they just dropped for the NBA Finals with PJ.
Oh. I'll get this one. Thank you, X1011.
Oh, I hate it here.
Oh my God, dude. Legal betting site where you can bet on anything. Just fucking. Oh, just give me the old Yeller at this point. Like, what are we even doing? Is there anything more American than a legal betting site where you can bet on anything? Aha, not everyone gets to do it, X1011.
Indiana gonna win, baby! We're in Florida asking people what they put their money on! I'm all in on OKC! Indiana got that dog in them!
Will egg prices go up this month?
I think we'll hit $20. How many hurricanes do you think we'll have this year?
Kalshi! Kalshi lets you legally trade on anything, anywhere in the U.S.
OKC!
Indy! OKC!
Holy shit. What up, joint specialist? I'm just this thing. The subtitle there. What are we doing? Oh. Like, you know, people do
the fuck. This guy is not coherent. What is going on?
Like people do the, oh, you know, idiocracy is and I'm like, no, you know, and then this. It's like, what are we doing? Cannot be the future isn't working? Great. There's no, and they're all the same. That's the thing, X1011. They're literally all the same. They're all hosted on Triggerfire, and they all are triggered by Twitch. So
Everything is going extremely well.
extremely well. There you go, Adrian. You got one. There you go, Larry. Like this is where we're at. What up, Tiny? To quote the inimicable Justin freaking, I ain't high enough for this shit.
Now, as an aside, as someone who loves the art of a good brand tagline, the World's Gone Mad, Trade It is maybe the most perfectly aligned with our modern moment tagline I've ever seen for a company. In any case, PJ then goes on to share the process
And that's bad.
that he used to build this. His general process is 1, write a script, 2, use Gemini to turn it into a shot list and prompts, 3, paste it into VO3, and then 4, edit it in CapCut or some other platform. He also shared a little bit more of the concept. He writes, Kalshi asked me to create a spot about people betting on various markets, including the NBA Finals.
Like, Nana with her jugs out and the American flag bikini sparkling. Like, this is American as fuck. Oh, you grew up in Florida. That explains a lot.
He said the best VO3 content is crazy people doing crazy things while showcasing your brand. He then went on, they love GTA 6. I grew up in Florida. The idea wrote itself. On the scripting, he says, I asked their team for a few dialogue bits they wanted to include. Then I came up with 10 wild characters in unhinged situations to say them. I co-wrote with Gemini or ChatGPT, asking it for ideas, picking the best ones and shaping them into a simple script. I then asked Gemini to take the script and convert every shot.
What up, Tariff? Slightly to the left.
Into a detailed VO3 prompt. I always tell it to return 5 prompts at a time. Any more detailed than that and the quality starts to slip. Each prompt should fully describe the scene as if VO3 had no context of the shot before or after it. Redescribe the setting, the character, and the tone every time to maintain consistency. He then goes on to add a bunch of other prompting tips. Ultimately, he said this took about...
Now, this is cool, right? Do you understand at least how he did what he did, right? Like, this has some value to it.
300 to 400 generations to get 15 usable clips. One person, 2 to 3 days. A 95% cost reduction, he said, versus traditional ads. Now, PJ did point out, just because this was cheap doesn't mean anyone can do it. I've been a director 15 plus years. Brands still pay a premium for taste. The future is small teams making viral brand adjacent content weekly, getting 80 to 90%.
And this thing, you know, leaving aside the fact that this is for advertising and brands, etc., this is still key, right? This brand still pay. What up, Zach? You know the difference, right? We've watched. Here's a VO3 video, and it's either like a little short film or it's a series of scenes, and they're very good, right? Like, and we enjoy them, and we all have a good time. And then there's other ones where it's just bad because the person behind it really didn't have, you know, a whole lot to bring to the table, and they were just doing basically some chaos. And maybe it was funny to them, but not everything funny to you is going to hit with everyone else, right? Like in that kind of thing. So the person behind the thing that they're creating is all, at least at this point in time, right, it still has a tremendous amount of impact, which again is why I make the argument that you can use AI tools to be creative, and that that creativity and that imagination and that story is going to hit because of the person behind it, kind of thing.
The results for way less. I think PJ is right about the taste. I think he's wrong about the 80-90% of the results, as we'll get into in just a minute. But this ad is actually playing during the NBA Finals, and so I think reflects a pretty significant moment in the evolution of AI advertising. So what might some of the implications be? Well, the obvious one is that costs come down dramatically. One thing that we should note is that already in advertising, significantly more is spent on the media cost, i.e. where you place the ad, than on the creative itself. For an ad that costs a couple $1 million in production, it's probably going to be the headliner of a 20 million plus campaign. Still, when you can get really high quality video ads at a tenth of the cost now, it's going to have some dramatic implications for how things play out. And one of those is the sheer variety and amount of content go up. In many, if not most,
You don't have to buy me more games, Tariff. I appreciate you, but it's cool.
Most cases, advertisers aren't going to look at their current $2 to $5 million production budgets for a campaign and say, great, we only have to spend $200,000 now. We can save all that and put it into media, although that's certainly one possibility. Instead, I think...
Oh, a game that you can play? Oh, you mean for the little guys? No, I have no idea. I don't know how any of the little guys games work. They're just there to add some motion and give people a creatable character, customizable, that kind of thing. And people like representation of themselves within the stream beyond just chat. So like, it's a whole thing, but I really haven't gone deep into all the capabilities of the things that you can do. That kind of thing.
That they make more assets. The variety and amount of content go up, and specifically get customized audience by audience. Already advertisers try to think about how different parts of their audience are going to react to different versions of content. And I think that customization and personalization is going to get massively more important as part of campaign planning because we just have the capability to do more of that customization. Specific audiences are going to get specific content that's tailored for them. Now, this creates a really interesting opportunity as well. Some channels where people receive content already have the ability to customize them in a pretty automatic way. Specifically, if you are interacting with advertising content on any sort of social media platform, the whole value proposition of that media platform for advertisers is that they know so much more about their users that they can really get the right ad to the right audience at the right time. However, there still are other places that people consume media. And I think that we're likely to see new personalization infrastructure that actually helps route the right content to the right people at the right time. Think, for example, smart TVs that have small on-device models that are constantly learning about their user behavior, that are able to interact with advertising distribution mechanisms to put specific versions of specific content in front of you based on what they see about you and your habits.
Yeah, that sounds horrid.
Interestingly, however, as much as the technology is enabling this, there are also some headwinds. One of them is, of course, the legal battles around copyright. Big new news on that front, Disney and Universal have sued Midjourney for copyright infringement. They allege that the company's AI models were trained on their copyrighted materials and easily reproduce characters like Shrek, Darth Vader, and Minions. The complaint states, Midjourney is the quintessential copyright-free writer and a bottomless pit of plagiarism. Kim Harris, the general counsel for NBC Universal, said that the companies filed the suit to, quote, protect the hard work of all the artists whose work entertains and inspires us and the significant investment we make in our content.
Yeah, the second part, the significant investment, this has nothing to do with creators and nothing to do with artists or writers or any of that. It has everything to do with where's our cut, right? Fuck you, pay me.
Now, let's be clear. Whatever you think about Midjourney or AI training practices in general, this is not about the artists who produce the content. This is about the investment in that content.
Thank you.
These companies have become gigantic IP holders over the years, accumulating tons of properties through acquisition. Disney's acquisition of...
Yeah, if you go back and look at the older Disney films, the ones that you don't really see that much, like Cinderella and Snow White and fucking Winnie the Pooh and all that shit. Yeah. They stole that from us. Plucked it right out of the public domain, slapped a coat of paint on it, and now there's an IP over this particular version of Winnie the Pooh that is wearing a red shirt. You can do Winnie the Pooh, but if you put a fucking red shirt on it, the mouse is going to sue you into oblivion. That's what this is about. This is not defending artists or artistic integrity or anything else.
Marvel and Lucasfilm were some of the biggest entertainment deals in history, adding properties like X-Men and Star Wars. Disney also acquired 21st Century Fox in 2019, bringing The Simpsons into their IP empire. Disney's chief legal and compliance officer, Horacio Gutierrez, says, "We are bullish on the promise of AI technology and optimistic about how it can be used responsibly to further human creativity. But piracy is piracy, and the fact that it's done by an AI company does not make it any..."
What up, Maddie? Good, right? But it's like, it's a drop in the bucket, right?
Less infringing. Now, this lawsuit is a little different from the numerous other copyright infringement cases being fought by the major AI labs. Thus far, most of the cases have largely dealt with the use of copyright material and training data. Plaintiffs have struggled to make the AI models reproduce written works word for word, and that fact has allowed the labs to make a fairly arguable claim that AI training is fair use. In this case, plaintiffs have produced dozens of examples of images generated by Midjourney that depict copyrighted characters. The complaint stated, "This case is not a close call under well-settled copyright law. This is textbook copyright infringement." Now, as you guys
know, if my production of a image for personal use is copyright infringement, we're fucked. Right? Like, I want you to, like, I don't give a shit if you're a individual artist or whatever. We're all fucked. You can't want this, because that means your little drawing of Toad from the Mario Brothers games that you use, oh, it's fair use. No, it's fuck you. What up, T1? Exactly.
know, usually at this point, I would go get you a bunch of takes from Twitter/X. But honestly, when it comes to these copyright battles, the only takes are the screeching screeds from the people who have made it their life's work to take down these AI companies. And while I am not at all being dismissive of their passion or their beliefs, it is somewhat ironic to me that the dislike of AI for some runs so deep that they're cheering for mega IP holders like Disney over small startups like Midjourney. But that's just where we are. One interesting set of commentary came from Imad Mustak, the founder and former leader of Stability AI. He wrote, "Some thoughts on the Midjourney lawsuit, having spent millions of dollars on lawyers for similar and ensuring we did everything legal and by the book at Stability. The case itself is pretty thin on legal grounds based on outputs.
What up, Nemesis?
Inputs will be where the real case is. Hopefully all done by the book, as that's a dangerous one based on jurisdiction and sources. It's puzzling that Midjourney apparently didn't engage with Disney and Universal when they were contacted in December. It seems the plaintiffs want outputs blocked, which could be easy settlement versus punishment. So imagine that will be how this ends?
Probably.
Google, Imagen, etc. use fully licensed inputs and have lawsuit protection on output as part of service. Chinese labs don't really care about inputs or outputs. Open source models from them have another legal status." Now, those
and that's another hilarious, like, in the ongoing series of hilarious Venn diagrams, the Venn diagram of people who are against these AI art programs for stealing artists' IP, and China is based. China don't give a fuck about your IP.
same folks that I was just mentioning got all up in his replies, asking him to please look at all of their work exposing Midjourney for the copyright stealer that they believe it is, but he just wasn't budging. He said,
Stampy, there he is. We wish to see your face. Yeah, everybody go to Kalshi and and we can bet on lawsuits. Oh. Stampy don't care. Stampy don't care about lawsuits. Stampy don't care about IP. Right, buddy? David's not worried about AI. All right.
Did see and read it all, as well as the whole case document. The overall case is weak legally, as I note, having spent a huge amount of money and time understanding the law, precedent, and more. Now, ultimately, this is all a bunch of armchair legal analysts, and these cases are, as I have said before, 100% going to end up in Supreme Court. In fact, I think that almost all the legal decisions along the way until we get to Supreme Court are more or less completely irrelevant. There's just no way any copyright issues are getting decided by anything less than the Supreme Court. So it's kind of just a waiting game for all of these lawsuits to work their way up through the system to finally get there. What's more interesting for our purposes is to ask, what would happen if this did end up in a big victory for Disney and Universal? Well, one possibility, as Ahmad points out, is that if these companies are simply trying to block outputs, that's an easy settlement that could mean it never gets there. A second possibility, however, and one that seems extremely likely to me, is that the industry just shifts over to models that have been trained on licensed content. There are numerous companies positioning to be the recipient of that opportunity. Many of the people who are loudest, by the way, on Twitter and other channels about copyright infringement are leaders of those models, which is always helpful context to understand where someone's perspective is coming from. But the big labs are also thinking about this as well. So again, another possibility, if this goes to Supreme Court and it does get decided against the AI companies, is that simply a different set of AI models that were previously behind, but frankly might be caught up by the time that the Supreme Court makes its decisions, step in, and from a user...
Exactly, Nemesis. Like for demonstration purposes alone, which was the entire founding position of the New York Times lawsuit, is that with a very particular prompt, it was able to mostly reproduce one of it or some of its articles from ChatGPT. And if I could create a prompt that was sufficiently detailed enough to give to the AI to draw, a mouse, right? Like the Mickey Mouse. What up, Michael? Then, that's it, right? What up, Burl? Like, it's just a matter of, can I sufficiently describe the picture that I want to see? And if I can, then that makes the AI illegal. And yes, only in this country and in the countries that we share copyright agreements with. I find it unlikely as well.
Perspective, it's all functionally the same. Another possibility is that one of these AI companies that's getting sued just goes scorched earth in crypto and goes fully decentralized, obviating the traditional structure of a company that could get sued in the first place. I don't think that's the most likely outcome, but it's certainly one possibility.
That'd be hilarious.
But then, lurking around all of this is, of course, China. There are a huge number of Chinese models, many of which are open source, which are going to have a very different respect or lack thereof for any sort of copyright consideration. And they will persistently be available throughout the entire time that all these legal battles are happening. One of the really interesting real-world contexts that I don't know how it doesn't shape, to some extent at least, the way that the legal system looks at this, is that this genie is fully out of the bottle. And when it comes to what companies do, there's no way they're going back to not using AI. If existing US-based models get banned for copyright infringement, people are just going to start using the Chinese models. Does the US need to then ban Chinese models or block companies from using them? Reasonable questions, but think about the precedent that we're starting to set there.
But it's not about the companies, right? Like, I don't give a fuck if the companies use them. I'm going to use them, right? Or are we going to start doing IP observation to see if you download the are we going to some weird fucking whatever the AI version of ICE is, and they're battering down people's door like the fucking FBI, and we want to see what models you have on your computer. Like, Jesus Christ. You understand how dystopian that is?
Of how much control government and the legal system have over the decisions that businesses make. Point is, it's messy. Ultimately, the TLDR is that AI video is happening one way or another. It's happening because people are going with bootleg Chinese models, or because the Supreme Court rejects the copyright arguments, or a fairly likely outcome that some company is in a position to take advantage of a legal decision if it goes against the current crop of AI companies. In the meantime, people are just going to keep innovating and releasing products. Midjourney, for example, appears very close to releasing their video generation model, and it's exactly as aesthetically pleasing as you would expect a model from Midjourney to be. Point, guys, is that advertising is changing. It is changing fast. It is changing at an accelerated rate. And we have an AI-generated Kalshi alien in the middle of a party premiering live.
You always make this assumption, Cosmic, that I haven't considered these things. Of course I've considered these things. The other thing is that they wouldn't be bought and paid for, Cosmic. The entire point behind what he was saying earlier is that most of their models are open source. So they're not like, you're not buying them. And if you're concerned about your data, then, I mean, do it fucking, locally. Why would it increase the USA deficit? That doesn't even make any sense.
All over the US as part of the NBA Finals right now. That's going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief. Appreciate you listening or watching, as always. And until next
time, peace. Okay, up next, an aforementioned VO3 AI film called AI in Film: A History. Cosmic, open source. I don't need to send money to China. I can go on Hugging Face and download it right now. I can download models I can't even run. That's the wonderful thing about open source. I can get software I can't use. That's America.
time. Peace.
Artificial intelligence has always been a controversial tool in the filmmaker's tool belt.
Today, we explore the history of AI in filmmaking and
they can't convert the ones that they have already released as open source to a paid platform. They could conceivably do it with future models. That's always a possibility. It doesn't change the fact that we can build off the existing models that are open source. And then there's the French ones like Mistral, right? Exactly. Well, as long as we understand each other. Yes, what Larry said there, Big Ben. Or Ben One Eye. Sorry, other Ben.
the challenges it brought to the motion picture industry.
The first time I saw a computer on set, I said, my gosh, are we sure we want to do this? But then I saw it animate a cartoon. Spectacular.
Like everything that you're seeing is AI, is created with VO3. The sound, the words, the pictures, everything.
Tugboat Steely was released in 1928, drawn entirely by a steam-powered robotic arm controlled by punch cards.
It's a marvel of engineering, wouldn't you say? Indeed.
But like any new technology, not everyone was ready to embrace it.
I remember my first shoot, one of the gaffers on set told me to pick up a pencil, and then he stormed off.
But it wasn't just Hollywood. French New Wave filmmaker Guillaume Herbeau was the first to use AI to write a screenplay, Le Mole de Pain, a film critics widely dismissed as soulless.
Je suis tombé sur ta croûte, en pleine rue, sous la voûte, le
mon baguette.
I believe so, Larry. I know that I can't. At the current thing that I'm doing, it's possible you get a different features at the higher paid tier. I don't know.
toi, monstre.
It was big challenge for me. It's not good reaction from cinema business, but fuck them.
But the use of AI in French cinema marked a shift. Soon, filmmakers like The Real Robot were creating entire films with AI visuals.
You know it's weird, sitting across from you? After what you did to Marcellus?
Well, Marcellus got off a lot easier than you will.
I just had a passion for film that spanned months. It was a chance for someone like me, with no real talent or vision, to make a movie dozens of people would see.
AI's first steps in film were shaky, strange, and controversial. In part 2, we'll trace the use of AI through more decades of cinema.
We are not going to ask you again.
Who sent her? Who sent you?
This snail does not exist.
New 2-minute papers, Google's new tech. This isn't a photo, but it is.
I mean, this is not a real photo, but it kinda is. Okay, so where do I even start? This is Google's magical new research tech that is able to look at camera views with different lighting conditions, and it recreates the whole scene digitally as if it were a computer game. Well, count me out then, because that is something that we have seen 100 times before. Many previous techniques can do that. However, wait a second, this can do something that none of the previous ones can do. Wow! Look at that! And here comes the key. It can also recreate a digital version, a video game version of the scene with high frequency details. Just look at the shell in all its glorious detail. That is incredible, but it gets better. Oh my, that is my favorite, and I hope it will soon be yours too. Subsurface scattering. Translucent stuff where light enters the object and scatters around in there, creating this beautiful look. Your skin does that too, by the way, as you will see in a later simulation here. Now, wait a minute. We did some research on that before in this area. These are translucent objects rendered with our technique called separable subsurface scattering. I've heard people call it a textbook industry standard technique for rendering beautiful materials like human skin, milk, marble, and more in real time. However, for this, we needed to take hundreds of pages of measurements of real objects to accomplish this. So, are you saying that this one just looks at some itty-bitty footage and it reconstructs every material, all the translucency, and in high quality? Yes, that is exactly what this paper is saying. Absolutely incredible. And before we get stunned by how much more it can do, I mean, just look at this. This is coming in a moment, and now another fun experiment. Amazingly, it starts with blank geometry, then learns the object's physics directly from the photos. Instead of simply copying the colors of a snail's shell, it reverse engineers its actual material properties, like its texture, its glossiness, and even how light scatters beneath its translucent skin. That is incredible. This is called inverse rendering. Previous techniques can do this with this kind of quality. Look, they either give us a splotchy result or there is simply too much noise in the output. Okay, but how close is this to the real result? Now, hold on to your papers, fellow scholars, and... oh, holy mother of papers. Are you seeing what I am seeing? It is nearly a pixel-perfect but real version of our imagined input, but with real materials. I did not think this would ever be possible. Absolutely stunning. And here comes the twist. It can also do it with human faces, creating a virtual avatar of us. Now, while it progressively grows out of nothing, we ask, okay, but what is all this good for? Well, after reconstructing the face, you can change the lighting. And the incredible details appear. Just look at that. And with this, we can also reimagine ourselves in completely new environments and talk to each other on the internet as if we were there. Or
inverse rendering.
put ourselves in a cool video game as a hero. What a time to be alive! Now, not even this technique is perfect. Here you see some artifacts around the eyes. We also have to have some information about the scene. For instance, the geometry and lighting has to be known. I say that is a small price to pay for something of this quality. And also, it is so far beyond previous techniques, it is not even funny. But that is not even the biggest surprise. I'll give you that in a moment. So, what does this do differently? How is all this possible? Dear fellow scholars, this is 2-minute papers with Dr. Károly Zsolnai Fehér. Well, the old way, called diffusion, was a shortcut. Imagine light hitting skin like a pebble in milky water. It just assumes a blurry circle will come out, which is just a fast shortcut. But not reality. Now, instead, this new technique uses path tracing. Now that is the real deal. It simulates the actual journey of individual light rays. It's
Jesus
like a
Christ.
virtual game of pinball. Like a ball, each ray of light penetrates the skin, goes on a journey, scattering inside the material until it finds its way out. The technique does this for millions of light rays to build up the final image. Why is it better? Well, because it does not guess. It is a direct simulation of reality, so it is super accurate. Loving it. This is not an ad if you want to learn.
The video games we're gonna play on like a PS6 or fucking Xbox, whatever, are gonna be absolutely off the chain, and the fans are gonna sound like fucking jet engines, dude.
Learn how this is done, I have a full master level course for you in the video description. Yes, it's free of charge. I won't accept anything in return.
What up, Stallman?
And
What up,
no,
Serotonin?
it doesn't make sense.
At a certain point, we get so far that we have to relearn physics and biology to make that shit work in the virtual setting. Yeah, like, it's just funny how, like, video games went through a process of attempting to simulate reality by, like, just, like, trying to force stuff to give us something that looked like the thing, right? Where now we're going back and we're using reality to be the thing. Yeah, no, water cooling unit and like like a 5-gallon bucket to keep the fucking coolant in. Jesus Christ.
To just give it away for free, but I do it anyway because I love it and it's the right thing to do. So, building on this knowledge, here comes the huge surprise. It uses automatic differentiation and gradient descent. These are important parts of a modern AI algorithm toolbox. However, get this, no neural networks were used here, but tons of human ingenuity instead. Bravo! This is exactly what we love here in this corner of the internet. If you enjoy it too, subscribe and hit the bell for more. And check out our sponsor, because it is about something that I will run just this once. On June 17 and 18th in San Francisco, the Weights and Biases Fully Connected Conference is taking place again with people from NVIDIA, Windsurf, Adobe, AWS, and more.
But yeah, no, like that's actually like you who was it? Serotonin, you joke, right? Like, but we've seen some simulations of, you know, generating realistic environments for video games that use like real distributions of like, oh, hold on, Anthony. Hold on, Anthony. Hold on. You need my undivided attention there, buddy. So we'll just have him wait. like you've probably seen the pictures of like you'll see like the way that trees of different species interact with each other, and they create almost like an invisible bubble around themselves and stuff like that. They're using that in order to create the.
And I feel like at the end of the day, this is just like a straw man that is ignoring the substance of a lot of the comments.
I feel, Larry, like that is an adequate description of the next 13 minutes 57 seconds. All right. You ready? AI music is evil with Lil Anthony Fantano. So as an artist, where do you see the future of being an artist? Feels like we're replacing something, but also I could see how it might be evolving certain creative roles in society. However, I can't quite see the next phase of the evolution will be. Again, I don't believe that anything will be lost in the sense that charcoal artists, probably one of the earliest art forms ever created, right? Because charcoal has existed for quite some time, naturally occurring due to forest fires and stuff, and people were doing that, and you can still find it today, right? It's probably one of the oldest. I would argue that it's probably older than like the cave paintings, So I would expect, that. Nobody does cave paintings anymore. Well, modern artists don't create cave paintings in the same way prehistoric humans did. Oh, you went and did a whole thing because I pushed the button. And let's take a linky, right? No, I need new stuff. This is an interesting idea. I didn't think about this. Some argue that graffiti and street art have roots in early cave painting, seeing a connection in the act of leaving marks on a wall. That's a fair discussion. We can go down rabbit holes of y'all don't understand how much I love to talk about art, because art is like a physical manifestation of philosophy, right? And it's just, we can, like if you think about it, is someone who paints a mural on their wall is doing a direct connection back to, that early cave painter, right? Like assuming that those people lived in those caves that they painted, it's a one-to-one connection. You're going all the way back to that. So that's the way that I see the thing moving forward. There will be all the art styles that have ever been created, and then this new one, right? This new tool, which creates its own style and everything else that comes from it. The only changes are going to be how commercially viable it is to do that as a career. And that is going to depend on who you are, right? An Ansel Adams can take photographs and make money off it, even though like other mediums around them change. But your average person, it's going to depend on your customer. You know what I mean? No, and that's exactly where I'm at, fancy pudding, right? Like, it's not about art, because art, I'm doing the fucking sea lining. Art is unable to be affected by anything, by AI. I mean, I suppose technically.
The fuck? This guy is not coherent. What is going on?
Right here, Larry. Like, all culture creates a counterculture, so the fact that there is AI art has already produced a backlash in art. We've watched the videos of people doing the morphing of AI style videos that were prevalent like last year. People doing that, right, in like TikTok shorts. Human beings in their living room with different shit, just creative people doing creative things. AI cannot stop artists from arting. It can't stop you from arting, right? Like, it's impossible. It's literally impossible. The only thing that AI can do is stop you from creating product. Well, it's a cyclical counterculture, right? Like, there is no culture and counterculture. There is the counterculture to the counterculture to the counterculture to the counterculture, and it's counterculture all the way down, like turtles. Y'all got me talking about fucking art, dude. I have to go argue with Anthony Fantano. It's impossible, right? As long as you have, for example, there's other ways to do it, but here, I can art however much I want. AI can't affect this because it happens in here. It happens in here. It's a creative act. I can just art. I can art to fuck. I can art really simply. I can art complex. I can do whatever I want. So whenever people do that thing, AI is devaluing art. It can't. It's devaluing product, I'll give you, but it can't devalue art. That's not how any of this works.
Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time to once again talk about the growing nightmare that is AI generated.
It's a choice. You're making a choice. You're making a choice to be ignorant about the thing that you want to argue about, as opposed to learning the thing and then making good argument. And that's what pisses me off, Anthony.
Music, and the fact that it continues to be forced upon us.
Flip-flopical, flip-tobological, flip-snobicals. It was a bunch of gibberish, bro.
I need to back that up a little.
That is AI generated music, and the fact that it continues to be forced upon us.
Nothing is forced upon you. Right? I use Spotify. I like Spotify. Spotify does things for me. Sucks for the artist. I understand all these things, but I enjoy using Spotify. I've been listening to Aesop Rock's catalog over the past few days. Thank you, Reed, for putting me back in touch with Aesop Rock and his new album, etc., etc. There's all sorts of music on there. None of it is forced on me, right? What up, Lenny? Greetings from west of Boston. There's all sorts of music on YouTube. None of it is forced on me. I don't have to engage it. Yeah, Ben, and it'd be nice, right? But that's not happening, right? Like, this is why all my arguments inevitably go to, I'm not going to fight Spotify. We shouldn't spend our energy fighting YouTube, Apple Music, or whatever to give artists better fucking thing. We should just go past this and fix the goddamn system and make sure everybody's needs are provided for And then, people's lives won't be contingent on their ability to make art and then commoditize that art. They will just be able to live and create the things that you want. You don't like 12-hour lo-fi, Larry?
By
shout out to Open Mike Eagle.
By individuals who should know better and frankly have way too much power and influence.
Sorry, Serotonin, it didn't like fuck off. And in case this doesn't go through, this forced upon us argument is what people say about LGBTQ diversity. Actually, fuck off with that argument, Anthony. It's what they say about video games and diversity, movies and diversity. Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Like, I was just minding my own business, and all of a sudden, there was a person in front of me, and they were gay in the video game, and it hurt me, and now, oh my God, it's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Oh, you saw a gay person. Oh, shit.
Frankly, have way too much power and influence in the music industry. Of course, we are talking about legendary super producer Timbaland, whose work I am very familiar with because I came of age when he was generating a lot of his biggest and best and most influential hits.
I do enjoy me some Timbaland.
Owning the talents of a lot of bright, young, up-and-coming artists who made some incredible stuff. But these days, Timbaland isn't really on that trajectory anymore. In fact, it's been a while since he's generated a real, genuine hit with a new, young, exciting artist who's actually making waves. I mean, if you're a producer with the talent and the history and the experience and connections of a Timbaland, the ground is currently fertile with ideas and artists willing to do whatever they can to make the biggest song of their career. The options and opportunities are there. You just have to go out there and grab them. No, instead of doing that, he is trying to forge a new pathway for himself by cutting corners and
Timbaland, an artist that I respect, and they have been innovative, and I love what they have done, and they are an amazing artist, producer, etc. Must be wrong here, because it can't possibly be Anthony Fantano who's wrong. It must be Timbaland. What up, Samsons?
And selling music fans short by giving us a bunch of AI-generated slop. And he's been quite egotistical about it in the past as well. We've actually covered AI in relation to Timbaland on this channel before in terms of this little obsession he had for a moment with bringing Biggie Smalls back, or at least, bringing his vocals back with the power of AI and using that to create...
Did he get permission from Biggie's family to use his likeness? If so, then what is your ethical concern with that, Anthony Fantano? Internet's busiest music nerd.
The opportunity for him to work with Biggie.
There's a lot of talk about AI. We know how the feelings violating certain things, but let me tell you something. I gotta share something I've been working on because I always wanted to do this.
Also, anyone who claims to be a fan of hip-hop who does not appreciate how sampling, which by today's standards is a form of piracy and IP and copyright violation, if you don't understand where that fits into the history of hip-hop, then you're not actually a fan of hip-hop. You don't understand. Because without that, there would be none. There would literally be no hip-hop. It would have died as an underground music genre and never made it to where most of you could see it. It'd be the punk rock of its time, which it was. It still is.
and I never got a chance to. I always wanted to work with Big, and I never got a chance to. Until today, it came out right. Play.
A friend of mine asked an interesting question, Red Hobbit, is because in order to work that out, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, people could have given me erroneous information. Excuse me, but Diddy allegedly has a contract where he has to pay Sting money for like the rest of forever because they used that sample. And the question is, what happens now, right? Like, if and when Diddy goes down in flames, like, what happens now? I assume there's a solution to all that, but it's just funny.
I really am happy about the public outcry around that, because I do think we kind of dodged a bullet there. But sadly, this has not stopped Timbaland from trying to forge forward with this whole AI thing. I actually think recently some of the stuff he's been doing with AI has been flying a little under the radar. I didn't see much coverage about this, but not too long ago, he came out with this Timbaland Progression album. Yes, Timbo Progression is the title of it. It dropped just this year. And the whole thing is like this weird throwback 70s Afrobeat, Afro-funk type of record. The songs on this LP are way shorter than you would usually expect music in this genre to be. On top of that, the grooves and the drums and the bass and the horns are just super.
Did you know it was AI before you formed your opinion, or afterwards?
Looped and repetitive. Like, there's no real organic, natural groove or flow to it at all. It sounds very tight, very synced, very cleanly produced for music in this style, but it still has the kind of nostalgic sheen to it, which does lead me to believe that these tracks may be AI generated on some level. I mean,
oh, you don't even know. I love that. I love that so much, because that's that right there. You don't even know. You just assume it's the thing that you hate, and you can't appreciate it because it might have touched the thing that you hate. Fuck off.
When exactly is Timbaland hitting the studio with a full band of old school African funk musicians and having them sing Timbo? And if he did actually put the personal time and resources into doing such a thing, you would think he would actually spend a bit more time like promoting the album, and it would be a bit more of a to-do, but instead this thing was like dropped out of the blue. And again, I think a lot of people haven't really kind of taken notice, and I think he's kind of used this as an opportunity to see if he can kind of like sneak a project like this out without people giving him crap for it. However, people are seemingly giving him crap for this new AI.
Yeah, you know why? Because AI skeptics are fucking rabid, because they're people like you, and they've received permission from people like you to be absolutely in fucking right? Like they don't take anything on its merits, right? They have this performative thing that they do, and they just hate, and it's just hate. I don't disagree, Ben. Real quick, I'm thinking I remember this being correct. Yeah, it was Love Again. and liked. What do you mean I can't do liked? How do I tell about the ones that I liked? Did it not work anymore? Did you take my track away? No, there we go. So real quick.
I don't love you no more. I don't care about you crying on the floor. I don't need you no more. I don't want you to love me no more.
I like that song. It's my song. But it's a remix of a Timbaland song. I believe it was a Timbaland song. How do I... There we go. I want search, not home. You have the originals? No, it's just everybody's. And what it was is that you could remix Love Again with the AI tool, and then Timbaland and Suno allegedly selected ones that they liked. And people won money, allegedly, right? I didn't win, so I don't know, but I assume that it was all good. So yeah, right? Like, you absolutely can do creative shit with that. Timbaland has been in the AI spot for some time. Also, Will.i.am has a relationship with Udio. You know, you can pretend that those people don't have artistic talent if you want to.
AI based venture he's involved in, which is this new pop artist here you can see on your screen named Tata, who, yes, is AI generated and looks like a composite of like a dozen different K-pop artists. AI generated images and music are gross.
Yeah, see, it's not a composite. That's the thing, because you don't understand how any of this stuff works. And because you can look at me like that all you want, Anthony, I don't give a fuck. Because you don't understand, your arguments are made by an ignorant person, which is what you are.
Enough on their own. What makes this even worse is, again, it's being engaged with by a man who has the time and has the talent and has the resources to actually be working with real, interesting, exciting young artists. But instead, he's doing this crap, and not out of love of creativity or anything like that. No, it's all being done because obviously, if you can, for the audience, fake the vision.
Obviously, it must be this other thing. It's not anything that Timbaland might have said. It's obviously the worst case scenario straw man that I'm going to bring up.
Of an actual artist through images and sound. And
I can't believe there's 10 more minutes of this.
And then actually generate a hit or two that way. That saves you the pesky trouble of having to pay them and split royalties with them, or compromise creatively with them in some way. Now, once again, like with the Biggie thing, Timbaland has gotten pushback for this as well. He's also trying to funnel all of this into like this, entertainment company that's going to be AI based named Stage Zero, which just goes to show you how greedy his ambitions are here. But in the wake of the backlash, Timbaland has gone on to social media to defend this decision with a few cringeworthy posts on Instagram.
Oh, no.
The first one I will read here.
Please.
I know I'm trolling, but let's have a real conversation. conversation. I love my independent artists. Okay, first off, you're starting a goddamn company around this shit, and you've tried to do this stuff before. You've released music recently that is presumably AI. You are not fucking trolling. And if you love your independent artists so much, where are they? Where are they? Where are the independent artists?
I don't know. Maybe it's my entire history of creating music, Anthony Fantano.
Where's the new production and entertainment company for all of your independent artists? This doesn't mean I'm not working with real artists anymore, and nah, I don't train AI off y'all music. Okay, well, I'm gonna presume it means you're gonna be working with a lot fewer real artists, honestly. Maybe you're not swearing off of real artists entirely, but this whole process says to me that if the opportunity arises where working with a fake artist will make you more money, you're going to do that. And you're going to try to drum up as many use.
Because that must be what it is. It's definitely because Timbaland wants more money and not because he wants to try a new creative endeavor, right? Like, use a new tool in a new way. Thanks, Anthony.
Cases as possible in the process, because all of this is just driven by your pockets. And again, no, I don't train AI off of your music. I mean, it's being trained off of something. What programs and platforms are you using? You're certainly not training the AI purely off of your own music. You know, I forgot about the massive Timbaland Afrobeat back catalog that he must have trained this Timbo progression album on. This just means more creativity for creators. Which honestly just sounds like some tech bullshit that CEOs and entrepreneurs use to get people investing in crap like this. Now, in addition to this, Timbaland also posted a video featuring music executive Ray Daniels, where he's kind of just talking into his phone in the car.
Also, fuck it.
The Mandingo style takes a strong back and total breath control. If properly mastered, one's skin becomes impervious to swords, spears, and fire, even bullets. Ultimately, one becomes invincible.
I'd like to see if you can match my deadly Shaolin technique.
Like this.
Right! Chef sharpens blade. Scorpion strength. You bastard!
I'm fairly certain that I don't know. I don't know how much, if any, AI was involved in making this music from Wu-Tang Clan. This video is entirely made with AI.
Shit. My designers like fine wine trip, caught and spell now yo. He jumped out of a bag with a blip, kept coughing with a mask on his flow, was windy, kept blowing. Pardon me, the scarf is Fendi, copping too much shit for the whiz. Other day she tried to drive the guard right off the bridge. I was hide out. You know the speed since the leaves were striped. I'm just a big hustle nigga with my guns from Dykeman. Running like Starks and them hands was flooded. 35th, slept up on the roof and puffin'. We wanna shoot everything that ain't ours. Now we want the loot every day and bring flowers. Copy gas like the refill my glass. I flex. Get your bling on. He out in Pakistan. Yo, let's shoot big for the stars who laying down and represent the big mighty bars you laying down. 100.
I would love to see Anthony Fantano. Yeah, there is a Wu-Tang Clan video game supposed to be coming out. I would love to see Anthony Fantano talk shit about the Wu-Tang Clan, but he won't. Protect your neck.
And making the case for this whole AI thing. And of course, it comes across even more out of touch than the Timbaland black and white text post.
Yo. ODB's son has done a pretty impressive job of like matching his energy. So I would say that's probably how they're going to do it, right? Apparently, like there was a Tiny Desk concert and my man was wiling out and like, you know, because he's young, jumping on desks and shit like that, where the older members are like, my knees can't handle it. You know what I mean?
And in today's news of artists are never satisfied, artists are never happy. This is why executives, producers, stuff of that nature don't work with artists.
What a shitheaded thing to say. Just off the bat. Executives and producers don't want to work with artists anymore because artists are annoying and they have opinions and they want things like to be paid. Why don't artists all want to work for free? Why can't they just all shut the fuck up and do what we tell them to all the time? Why can't the thing that they give us that makes this industry run just come for free and we take it and make money off of it and they just go away and fuck off? Why can't that just happen?
Timbaland, who has super producer who has, I've seen helping as many artists as he can, decides he's going to play in the AI world, which why the fuck wouldn't you? Like, let me tell you what an AI thing is. Let me tell you what an AI character is. Mickey Mouse is an AI character. Donald Duck is an AI character. Bugs Bunny is an AI character.
Three times.
I have no idea what my man is talking about.
It's impressive. 3 times in a row. Wrong. Bugs Bunny is not an AI character. Mickey Mouse is not an AI character. Whatever the hell else, also not an AI character. Not only are those characters not artificial intelligence, they're also not AI generated because they were generated by human beings. They were generated by artists, the people who earlier you were saying are never satisfied. That's why nobody wants to work with them anymore. No, those are the works of artists, the very group of people who you are crapping on and disrespecting.
Bugs Bunny, Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, where the fuck else, was created by an artist, and then a whole room full of artists copied that person's style in order to produce cartoons and movies that generated massive amounts of wealth for faceless corporations and extended copyright protections in the case of Disney for like 75, 95 fuck all years. But fuck all those people. They don't matter to you, Anthony. You only care about the person who allegedly created the image and then the faceless corporation owns the rights to.
You guys are looking at it wrong. He's going to make a character that he can have sing songs and things of that nature, sell products. That's all these cartoonists and all these young kid TV shows are doing anyway. So why y'all mad at him?
Okay, again, I'm not begrudging Timbaland if he wants the freedom to generate a character and then have that character.
You are absolutely begrudging the shit out of him. You basically said he's the dirt underneath the gum underneath your fucking shoe. You fucking disingenuous fucking scumbag.
Represent the art that he and maybe other creatives are creating themselves. If Timbaland wants to have his whole little weird Gorillaz era, he's certainly entitled to that. Yeah, he can work with a cartoonist or a CGI artist or something and then have them like...
Right, because Anthony Fantano is the arbiter of what is and is not art, what is and is not allowed in this space. Anthony Fantano gets to do that fucking shit. Talk shit about the Wu-Tang Clan. I would love to see Anthony Fantano talk shit about the Wu-Tang Clan, but he won't. Protect your neck.
And
thank you, Pharaoh. Oh, I could time you out from here. I would love to see Anthony Fantano talk. That's fun. You can straight time people out for clipping you. That's you know. I can see why that might be of advantage to some people. I'm kind of memeing a little bit. Same guy thinks if you like the latest Sleep Token album, you must not like real pop and rock and metal either. I don't know what Sleep Token is. I've heard the name. I've never actually listened to any of their stuff. But yeah. No, Anthony Fantano's a shitter. He's a shitter. He just, do you like a thing? Well, it doesn't meet my standards. So you suck. Everything you like sucks. You should feel bad, right? Your opinions are bad and you should feel bad. And Anthony Fantano can go fuck himself in the same way that every other online critic or critics in general, right? Do you have a movie that is like universally panned by critics as being garbage and it's just you love that fucking movie? Good. That's awesome.
Create the character and make it up, or he could even like hire some models to dress in an outfit to represent the character. Or he can.
What up, Johnny Prophet? Anthony, Johnny says that you can't grill for crap either. So you're just packing L's here, buddy.
Like put on a mask. I don't know. Just do it in a way that involves humans fucking doing it. Just do it in a way that is human and personal. And
and he is. You just don't like the way that he's doing it because the AI doesn't manifest anything out of nowhere. It requires a human to be the initiate of a particular vision. That's the way all AI works. It's the way all AI works. It's a tool. You insufferable douchebag.
Isn't just generated off of the creativity of others with no credit or depth or anything. Plus, on top of it, he goes into, again, the real motivation behind all of this. Do you know how hard it is to push an artist? Artists have opinions and want to do things their own way.
Right. And sometimes what you want is to do your vision. And rather argue and fight with an artist to get them to sacrifice their vision and fuck them over, right? Like, because they wouldn't be happy. He is removing the artist from the equation so he can create the thing that's his vision. But you want him to, like, argue with people.
When we, the executives and the producers, just want them to be quiet and do whatever we tell them to.
No, literally, I mean, this Ray Daniels person might, right? Like, I don't know them and what they do, but he literally didn't do that, right? Like, you're accusing him of doing a thing. First of all, you're attacking Timbaland for Ray Daniels' takes. Right, which is a fascinating kind of argument, I guess. But beyond that, like, you only accept the thing if it's done in a very particular way. And that's some shit, dude. That is some fucking, like, entitled fucking bullshit.
How hard it is to push an artist. They gonna tell you, I don't want to do that. Jimmy Iovine famously told me one day, get
Later,
you something
Ben,
that don't talk back. What is better than an AI artist that don't talk back?
He said it. He said the thing. He literally said that he's not even hiding it. There's no mask on.
There's nothing to hide.
The mask is off. Here it is for all.
There's nothing to hide. The whole point, the producer has a vision. The producer wants to execute on that vision. The producer doesn't have an artist that wants to do their vision. So what they do is they use a tool that gets to their vision. This is not difficult. This is not challenging.
See, with no filter, whatsoever. This is what every AI-based executive will not say outright, because this is the actual appeal for AI, for fuckers like this. AI is being pitched as like, hey, it's supposed to be this new way forward for creativity and the future of
100%.
art and music and so on and so
Correct.
forth. No, dumbasses like this are only interested in it because it doesn't talk back. They're only interested in it because it saves them money, it cuts.
No. I mean, yes, it saves, like, I don't create music with AI because it saves me money, but I do because I definitely can't afford to pay an artist to record tracks for me or pay an artist to play tracks for me. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't afford it. So fuck me, right? Fuck me, Anthony.
Corners. It's one less person to have to split royalties with, split streaming revenue with. This is something that can be controlled and used purely for the benefit of the executives, the 1%, the rich, the powerful. That's it. All artists watching this, especially artists who are big, are influential, are on a label, have some kind of deal. If you're sitting there and trying to be as quiet and as dumb and as marketable and as boring as you possibly can in hopes that it's going to extend your career and lead to your continued success, these people are looking at you purely like a commodity.
Was that a confession? That's you.
And will replace you instantly the moment that they have the opportunity to. These people are sick, disgusting parasites, and they will replace you at a moment's notice. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about...
Wait. The music industry has parasites who don't give a fuck about artists. Shocker. Oh, you meant Timbaland. See, I was thinking like, you know, all of the big companies who own all the rights to all the fucking music and like extract a tremendous amount of wealth from these artists that, you know, you seem to be good with that. You seem to think that's great. It's like capitalism is bad, Anthony. Having a hard time finding a difference between using synthetic beats that are already existing and using AI. Am I missing the point? Either way, you're not playing an instrument, you're using artificial sounds, right? Am I wrong? I mean, CMS, that sounds plausible to me. That sounds reasonable to me. I might want to make music, and not only do I have limited instrument training, I couldn't afford to hire musicians either. And with a chronic condition, learning to play all that shit myself would obliterate my collagen. Well, fuck you, Textillion. You don't get to play music. You don't get to create in that genre. Too fucking bad. That's what Anthony Fantano says. That's what all these fucking people say. If you can't do it the right way, then fuck you.
Creativity, they don't give a fuck about art. So it's time to say something and be aggressive and be angry about it, because shutting up and being quiet and not saying anything is not.
When have you shut the fuck up about the AI shit, Anthony? I've got fucking 4 different videos that we have done of you talking your yang and talking out your ass and not making a goddamn lick of fucking sense. But it's just you on your high fucking horse appealing to the low-hanging fruit of the anti-AI people, because they're all gonna run and they're gonna give you mad fucking views and talk about how you're speaking the truth to power instead of being a fucking pretentious douchebag.
Not going to save you. This guy's a moron. Timbaland's a moron. They're both hacks. They're both greedy freaks. And after this,
And if you feel that I'm being an asshole because of the way I'm fucking descending into weird ad hominem to fucking curse at Anthony Fantano,
quiet and not saying anything is not going to save you. This guy's a moron. Timbaland's a moron. They're both hacks.
Fuck Anthony Fantano.
They're both greedy freaks. And after this, I don't want to hear not one single person in my comments or in my mentions on social media trying to blow smoke up my ass about how AI is the future and it's so...
Right. I'm in my bubble. I don't want to have a discussion about how my bubble might be wrong. I don't want to challenge my ideas and do any self-reflection. I'm in my bubble and I'm happy in my bubble, so don't at me, because I'm a fucking coward.
Great for creativity when...
Fucking skill issue, Pharaoh.
Right now, currently, we are so far from a point where we're actually enacting legislation that pays artists whose music is getting trained on this crap. And now, with posts and announcements like these, we are actually seeing thrown in our faces the real motivation behind why all these executives and producers are embracing AI. All they want to do is make more money and fuck over artists. So yeah, that's it. This is evil. In fact, yeah, I don't think you can characterize it in any other way.
Fucking evil. Like a child's understanding of the world.
This is just evil. This is callousness. This is soullessness personified. And I look forward one day to this sickness going away. I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think.
Again, the bubble will burst any day now. Any day now.
All artists watching this, especially artists who are big, are influential, are on a label, have some kind of deal. If you're sitting there and trying to be as quiet and as dumb and as marketable and as boring as you possibly can in hopes that it's going to extend your career and lead to your continued success, these people are looking at you purely like a commodity.
Was that a confession? That's you. Oh, I can't wait.
All artists watching this, especially
just sometimes I get people in my comments, not often, because they're not willing to actually engage with what I'm talking about. They just want to be mad. So that was fun. Hey, look, up next, I wanted to hate AI music, but I don't. Uh-oh.
Okay, let's play a game. I'm going to give you 2 songs, and you've got to tell me which one was made by AI. And I promise you, one was made by AI. Go.
That's AI.
Or is this one AI?
Carry you through every hour of the day.
Trick question, it's both of them.
Wherever I go, you're still part of me.
Would you say A or B? Let's try another one. How about this?
Doesn't shine on our village like it used to.
I feel the fact that all the artists are individual bongos 179. They're all AI.
The windows stay shut even when the sky is clear.
Okay, now how about this one?
Sunshine doesn't shine on our village like it used to. The windows detect even when the sky is clear. Children don't run.
I don't like that. I like the first one of this, but not this one.
Through the fields anymore.
Let's do one more. This is a Gaelic song. We're going to show you this one. And now I'm going to show you this one.
I understand, Textillion, you do have a particular ear and you can hear some stuff that, other people, either cannot or are less concerned about. But yeah, I respect it, right? I respect it.
What would you say, A or B? The first one you probably thought was A. The second one you probably thought was B. and the third one you probably thought was A. I promise you,
All
one
of
of them's AI on each one of them. You're probably like, no shit. But the trick is, they're all AI.
Right.
It's the difference between version 2 of Suno.
Yeah, and that's what it is. The vocals on 4.5 are significantly better than the vocals on version 2, especially. A lot of that, that tinny, staticky shit that you hear on the back end, that's what they are getting better at getting rid of. I'm not saying they've eliminated it 100%, but like again, going back to my catalog, what's one that I did actually? Give me my most recents, because I did some. Oh yeah, Good Morning. I think this should be a good example. And what about the older version of Good Morning? What about the original? Does it connect me to the original? Yeah, okay. So this is the original.
Good morning. Yo, it's hard to wake up because the sun's in your eyes and sometimes life kinda sucks, but you got this. And hey, you never know, there's a million different ways that this whole day could go, so I'm just popping in to say, I hope you have a good day.
And this is my best performing song. 333 plays, 67 likes. Cosmic blows me out of the water. This is the remaster with 4.5.
Good morning. Know it's hard to wake up because the sun's in your eyes and sometimes life kinda sucks, but you got this. And hey, you never know, there's a million different ways that this whole day could go, so I'm just popping in to say, I hope you have a good day.
And there's a difference between the two, right? Like, this one was definitely improved.
Creativity, they don't give a fuck about art. So it's time to say something and be aggressive and be angry about it, because shutting up and being quiet and not saying anything is not.
When have you shut the fuck up about the AI shit, Anthony? I've got fucking 4 different videos that we have done of you talking your yang and talking out your ass and not making a goddamn lick of fucking sense. But it's just you on your high fucking horse appealing to the low-hanging fruit of the anti-AI people, because they're all gonna run and they're gonna give you mad fucking views and talk about how you're speaking the truth to power instead of being a fucking pretentious douchebag.
Not gonna.
I'm causing problems
Creativity,
on the
they don't give a-
internet. Oh, I feel like these are gonna cause some fucking problems. Always the ones where I go after somebody's fucking favorite sacred cow. Do I have to deal with the backlash? But we'll find out. And of course, they won't actually watch the video to get the context. They'll just be mad. Yes, you do get good Vocaloid out of 4.5. The song earlier that you referred to as terrorism, Larry, was done in that style.
And version 4.5, I ran the same lyrics, same genre.
Also, I don't know who this is. Zion Brock, what an unfortunate name, my man. but we won't hold that against you. You appear to be just like a regular dude. But you do talk about like music creation. So fun with metronomes, vocal production tools, quick tips, all that kind of thing. I don't know if Anthony is going to respect you, but I do. And you got bongos in your background, so you must have a little studio.
In the previous Suno version, Generation 2, which was a few years ago, like 3 years ago, and now Generation 4.5. Is that crazy? Am I the only one blown away by this? So in case you've been living peacefully offline, I envy you. AI is currently dropkicking the entire music industry right now. Out of all the creative fields, it seems like music is taking the biggest chair to the face. The progress curve looks like a hockey stick. And the best part is, if you're a masochist, it's actually extremely accessible. All you need is a laptop, an internet connection, and the moral flexibility of a tech startup. You no longer have to suffer through 10 years of piano lessons. And among the big tools of AI music out there, the biggest one seems to be
I feel like he's throwing shade, but he's doing it in a better way than Anthony does.
Suno. Picture Spotify and Skynet had a baby with GarageBand. Suno devours millions of songs that it trains on, figures out why they slap, the groove, the tempo, the BPM, the energy, and then spits out a track that sounds uncannily like a real artist. You give it a vibe, it gives you back a vibe. It's like musical karma, except you don't actually deserve it. So it's not like karma. Now, it should be noted that a lot of these big AI music companies are being sued right now, and for good reason. They've pretty much trained on millions of artists without their permission. Hey, would you mind if you donated your entire life work to the algorithm? We really need it. No, I don't really want you to do that. Well, we're gonna kind of do it anyway, and there's...
I always love that impression that, like, again, that the majority of the music is taking from individual artists as opposed to, you know, big faceless corporations, right? It's that kind of thing. And also, what's your view on training, right? Like, is it fair use or is it, you know, theft? Because it seems like you still have the original, so I'm not sure how it could be theft, but I could be wrong somehow.
Nothing really can do to stop it. Okay, musicians right now are frantically trying to figure out if their discography is seasoning for the next AI large language model AI software. Meanwhile, Suno is just...
No, they're pretty sure that it's in there.
Freaking killing it with how well they make their stuff sound like a real artist and real music. Does it still have some issues? Sure. But buckle up, because it's going to blow your mind if you haven't seen this yet. AI didn't just come for our jobs. It's writing the breakup albums for our jobs. Fun fact about me, I've been moonlighting as an artist called fan fiction for the last about 8 years. It's kind of a folk pop type sound. Sometimes I moonlight as Lo-Fi Panda, which is all sort of lo-fi music you can find on YouTube. And I've also done some massage and spa kind of music as well. But here's the catch. I can't sing very well, and I don't like performing at all. I just love the studio work. I love writing and I love producing. And so that's kind of what I focus on. The making part is where that dopamine lives for me. Give me a dog, give me some
process. The making part is where the dopamine lives for me. Beautiful. I love that for you. And AI doesn't stop you from doing that. It literally cannot. It physically cannot. It's not coming at you and saying, no, you must listen to this AI slop, 12 hours of lo-fi.
Plugins, give me 16 hours, and I am happy. So when AI music squeaked onto my radar about 3 years ago, I kind of shrugged. Cute toy, now let the adults record their stuff. Fast forward to today, and now I'm a little worried. It's crazy good, mostly because it inhaled decades of the greatest hits and said, hey, we'll take it from here. As for competing, yeah, I have no clue. The industry might be 2 minutes from imploding, and I'm over here tuning my ukulele. 5 months ago, I needed some background music for a YouTube video I was making. My personal stockpile of background music had kind of been tapped out, and I was looking for something else, and I remembered somebody saying you could make background music in Suno or Udio. So I jumped on it to check it out. And I made something that was passable, and it worked out for the video I needed. Now, one of the things I should mention before I go any further is that you can't copyright something you've made with AI music, which is really a good thing. But if you're using royalty-free...
It's a fantastic thing. I love that about the thing. It's great. The fact that I can create a song and then someone else on Suno can take my song and remix it and reuse it in a way, I love that. That's awesome. If I can play a small part in your process of making something else that you enjoy and that continues on down the line, that's amazing to me.
Music or non-copyrighted AI music for the background of your video, it's fair game. I then started using AI music for the stems that I use for games that we do for On the Hook. On the Hook is this little team of producers that get together every week, and I give them some stems and they've got 1 hour to make something. So I started using it for that too, and it actually works out really, really well. But then I experimented a little further. Do you know who Tom McGovern is? He's the guy that sings these funny songs that he makes up, and he's now getting hired by big companies like Canva to do ads for them. But he came out with a song.
Should I tell him? Should I tell him about Canva and their relationship with AI, or should we just move on?
About how springtime smells like something in the air. Well, I thought it would be fun to make something like that with AI, but I wouldn't have to sing it. I would just write all the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Around that same time, Fox News...
Because you don't like singing and you're not good at it, and you probably don't want to pay an artist for a little, creative thing, assuming you can afford to pay an artist.
A parade for Trump because he won his little golf course that he hosted at his own property. Pulitzer Prize material right there. My fight or flight response was, I'll write a song about that. So I wrote some lyrics, tossed it in Suno, and made a little anthem for this self-proclaimed champion.
Plan. Oh my God, did you hear yet? Oh my God, he really did that. It just so happened that he wanted. What are the odds? Oh my God, like a prodigy. Oh my God, so much modesty. In the face of all his wannabes, Trump won his little bitty private golf tournament again.
The link is below if you want to feel patriotic and confused. But this moment unlocked something for me. Every time I'm annoyed by the news or my toast was burned on one side, I just birth another AI song. It turns out converting rage into auto-tune satire is a lot cheaper than therapy, and the copay is way less. Zion from the future here. Can you give me another example? So the other day I was trying to use Siri to convert a time zone because I had a meeting with somebody online in Budapest that I was going to interview. And I'm in Arizona, and so I asked it, hey, what time is it going to be at 11 a.m. my time? And its response was, would you like ChatGPT to help you with that? Really, Siri? You need ChatGPT to add 10 hours to the time I'm in? Come on.
Yeah, because Siri sucks, bro.
It's like asking my waiter for ketchup, and he said, have you tried Postmates? And this isn't a one-time thing. This is a common problem. Ever since Apple announced Apple Intelligence back in 2024, remember that? That keynote where Craig Federighi floated across the stage, they promised context-aware Siri, smart summaries, Genmojis, cross-app tasks.
And they haven't delivered, right? Like, it's a whole thing.
Searching for photos just by describing the place you were at. It's been over a year, and this still doesn't work very well. Some of the
It really does on Android. I can describe photos and it will bring me the photos. It's kind of fucking amazing because I have a fuck ton of photos. Like, to the point where every so often I have to delete an app off my phone because I have too many photos.
Those items were implemented, but a lot of them still don't. And they're actually under a massive lawsuit right now because they overpromised all their products to have this Apple Intelligence in it, which hasn't worked yet. They said it was going to revolutionize your iPhone and Mac experience. It was going to make Siri not useless anymore. because for the longest time, Siri has sucked. What do we have instead? It can't set a timer and play music without panicking and asking for Big Brother to help, like it's been quietly demoted and doesn't want to talk about it. So in true millennial fashion, I wrote a song about it. First, I launched Notepad on my Mac.
Is that a thing millennials do? Do y'all write songs about things?
I love writing and I love producing. And so that's kind of what I focus on. The making part is where that dopamine lives for me. Give me a dog, give me some
process. The making part is where the dopamine lives for me. Beautiful. I love that for you. And AI doesn't stop you from doing that. It literally cannot. It physically cannot. It's not coming at you and saying, no, you must listen to this AI slop, 12 hours of lo-fi. I was like, why did you clip this? And then I remembered the end. Oh, no, not the toxic gossip train lady.
I love writing and I love...
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing, Textillion. Old Lobster, in their infinite wisdom, you saw what I remembered. Old Lobster, in their infinite wisdom, did a thing. I don't know where I know where it is. I just would have to scroll back to find it. But there is Globus in the fucking, if you go in the Discord and you go to the AI vocalization channels, you can find Globus the Elder singing the Toxic Gossip Train song. And yeah. And that was a terrible time. I keep trying to forget that lady exists. Yes, Michael, the microwave oven, that's a tough one. The microwave oven has kind of destroyed people's ability to cook. Only because they don't want to, right?
Started brainstorming furiously. And then somewhere along the way, I had this epiphany. Apple thought it was clever to rebrand the AI acronym to Apple Intelligence instead of Artificial Intelligence. So what if I took the A from the Apple and the INT from the intelligence?
Faux Machina, are you saying that this is how you remind me of what I really am? It's not like you to say sorry, always waiting on a different story.
And just called it ain't working. Ain't fulfilled your promises. This ain't what I expected. God, I'm brilliant. I wrote the chorus with a poetic structure and simple rhyme scheme. I pasted it all into Suno, and then I tested it with a bunch of different genres and started listening through to see which one sounded best.
Ain't stands for Apple Intelligence. Ain't gonna make emoji. Ain't stands for Apple Intelligence. Ain't gonna make Enos Bay. Ain't stands for Apple Intelligence. Don't need more emojis. Ain't nobody asked for more emojis. Ain't nobody wants stuff summarized. This ain't the emojis. Ain't nobody wants stuff summarized.
I finally...
That's very similar to my process, right? Like I do a few in a particular sound, right? And if that sound's not hitting, then I will just go way off, right? Like I'll do something different, you know what I mean? And then I'll see if that does anything for me. And I've psychedelic bluegrass hip hop is the latest thing that I've been working with.
I settled on this one because of the sing-songy melody and just the clarity of it.
Ain't nobody asked for more emojis. Ain't nobody wants stuff summarized. This ain't the promise made by Craig Federighi. I guess ain't means Apple Intelligence and lies.
I need to go use the bathroom. I'll be right back. What up, girl with a gun? I do too. I'll be right back. I'm gonna leave you with AI slop.
turn 200 someday. Laugh in their face, shouting, who wants some pay?
Laugh in their face, shouting, who wants some pay? Cover of the classic tune by Globus the Elder. 20 viewers, Andy.
Feels good. Feels good to express that. As you can imagine, a lot of people are really afraid of this technology, especially music artists. And I get it. It feels like an industry shortcut instead of a tool. I mean, it's doing all the production on the fly. To be completely honest, I kind of wish it had never been invented. There's something sacred about music made by people and not AI. Real voices, real instruments, real passion, real creativity. But the genie's out of the bag. There's no undo button. So now we're left with, what are the ethical ramifications behind this? How do I feel about subscribing to Suno and paying them $10 a month? What level of ethical compromise are we willing to accept? Here's what I think. I think you gotta first... the lawn blower guy's here. Pause the video. Wait. Don't pause the video. Let's make a song about this.
Yeah. 7 a.m. and you wanna get started. How about not? Back it up, fire it up, smell the gas getting charted. How about not?
See, fuck you. This undermines his entire creativity argument, because here he is, right? Like, he 3D printed a fake mic to do a video. And, like, come on, dude.
4 guys going at it with the blowers. How about not? Doing laps on a patch that couldn't get any slower. How about not? Yeah, I'm just trying to work, trying to think, trying to breathe. But it's full throttle chaos right under my eaves. Yeah, how about not? How about maybe just chill? How about take your turbine tantrum up over the hill? How about not? I'm begging, I'm pleading, I'm
Also, don't you pay this guy? Or do you live in, like, I don't know. I don't know what life is like wherever they live. Maybe the HOA pays the guy and they pay HOA fees and some weird fucking shit.
every leaf in the tri-state's been moved. How about not? How about not? Blow it all in.
Also, I honestly fucking hate leaf blowers. Like,
To the neighbor's backyard. How about not? Tomorrow their guy's gonna launch it back hard. How about not?
Of course, our lawn guy is actually really good. He's been with us for like 20 years, super loyal, very hardworking. So this is just a total bitch fest.
Okay.
It's just fun to rant, right? But let's get out of here where we can talk.
gasoline leaf blowers should be illegal. Electric leaf blowers should also be illegal. But they are a tool that make the user of the tool's life significantly easier, right? It is significantly easier, more efficient, and less time consuming to use a leaf blower to blow the leaves than it is to rake. Fair enough, Tariff. You know, it's easier to use a leaf blower than to rake. And who the fuck am I to tell somebody that they can't use a tool to make their lives easier, right? Like, it's a whole fucking thing. Or does it make their lives more difficult? Because, you know, and you can't rake the tear gas.
Thing that I think we should consider is the fact that people that are performers that love to perform, not me, this is an opportunity for them. Because people are always going to want real people at a wedding, right? Or a coffee shop, or even DJing. You're going to want real people in those moments. Nobody's going to want a robot to come play at their wedding. So I think there's actually real opportunity.
But even the DJs, right? There's fewer and Samson's out here. Fewer and fewer DJs who actually spin vinyl, right? Because it's way easier and way more efficient to put it all on computer MP3 and then use one of those digital turntable setups in a similar way that you would use vinyl, right? And is that bad? Should they not be allowed to do that, right? Carrying vinyls, egg crates, right? Egg crates, or milk crates. You get milk crates full of fucking vinyl. You know? Vinyl junkies, shout out vinyl junkies, shout out Sam Tweaks. There are people who do still spin on vinyl, right? Like, but there's a lot of people, the accessibility is far more open when people can use digital equipment, right? Excuse me. I don't even remember. I remember I said that. I can't remember what his argument was. And I'm not dunking on this guy hard, right? Just a little bit, Michael. And I feel like I'm dunking on past him in a way that future him is doing the thing. You know what I mean? But fair enough.
Here. But what does that mean for the rest of us? People that are artists but don't necessarily perform. Is AI going to just take our jobs, or is it going to actually be a great tool for us? But this question can only be answered
like Aphex Twin, right? Aphex Twin, all sorts of, and this is the fucking thing, because I was here, because it wasn't that fucking long ago, listening to artists who play like instruments in a band, right? A traditional band, talk shit about the people who get up on stage with their computer and they just play the computer, and they should learn to play an instrument like a real musician, etc., etc. Why don't we have Cat Jam in here? Because I did not put it into, what do we have? We have, I think, Better TV and that kind of shit. There's a couple of the things. I've just not done it, right? Like it's really like anything else, Textillion. I try to do when people ask for stuff. Otherwise, I'm like, fucking, I'm not trying to figure out what y'all people want. That is a fucking fool's errand.
answered with a refreshing caffeine-free Diet Coke. And I know just the place. It's the only place that still has it on Fountain. The area that I feel like AI music could actually help us the most.
Michael, can I dunk on the fact that it's caffeine-free Diet Coke? Like, why? Exactly.
Most is the, oh no. Excuse me, why isn't there any caffeine-free Diet Coke?
I'm not sure. I guess somebody decided that flavor wasn't selling enough.
One day you're there, next day you're missing.
Oh, is that a thing? Mormons don't caffeine?
They filled your place with a joke. Some knock off fizz, nobody's kissing. Now I just grieve by the fountain, heartbroke. Goodbye, goodbye, my sweet brown serve. The joy you brought me's revoked. All the memories we made, I admit, makes me tear up. Goodbye, caffeine-free Diet Coke.
Okay, so I don't have caffeine-free Diet Coke anymore. It's all right. I'm fine. You're fine.
Like I almost met you. This is crazy. Here's my number. Call me maybe. Thank you for the follow. I feel like I would not have been surprised if instead of these sunglasses, if he had pulled up a set of Oakleys, right? Like
We're fine. Nothing will heal this sadness better than just going to the gym. I got my earbuds, I'm ready. So you're probably full of anxiety, maybe a little fear about AI music. And you know what? I think you kind of should be. This thing is getting so fast and it's getting so good. The production is just getting better and better and it sounds more and more real. And we're like in year 3 right now. It's totally in its infancy. But here's the twist. You're not just a melody machine. You're
vipers? Are they vipers or something?
You're a human being, full of emotions and experiences and passions and desires. AI doesn't.
This is what happens when you start drinking it. Like, what time did you start? At least noon, right? You cracked that first beer in James's stream at like noon. You potentially were cracking them earlier.
Know what it's like to choke on stage or cry in a Wendy's parking lot after a bad gig. It doesn't know what breaking up feels like or losing a loved one or falling in love. And that's the good stuff. That's what makes you so much better as a songwriter. And that gives you the edge. Ultimately, AI is just a tool. It's a really wild, bizarre tool, but that's really all it is. Crap. We're gonna have to find another location. Someone at this gym is always playing Fox News, and every time I change it, they change it back. And there's Jessica Tarlov trying to bring empathy and logic into a room that clearly has no intention of listening. Look at her calmly displaying and reporting on facts and data, while the other Fox 5 try to dogpile on her for not kissing the ring. I don't know how the fuck she does it. So clearly I have to write a song about it.
They talk in loops and they toss their blame like truth's a sport and not a name. But you don't flinch when the pitch gets wild. You just breathe deep and force a smile. How the fuck do you do it, Jessica Tarlov? Debating folks with no IQ, hoping for change, what's your point of view? How the fuck do you do it, Jessica Tarlov? Fighting a bunch of breast implants, surrounded by the sycophants.
We're so early in on this AI music adventure that we're not really sure what the ramifications of it are yet. So if part of my catalog gets trained by an AI and somebody uses...
I actually owned a guitar at one point in time, and it had the little knob that you could roll up and down, and like that, it was red.
That to make a song, and then uploads and publishes that, could I get a copyright strike because mine sounds too similar to theirs that was trained on mine? Something similar happened to a YouTuber named Venus Theory. I'll put the link below. He had used a background track that was royalty free.
No, fuck that guy. Dude, we watched that video. That guy's fucking full of shit, bro.
And used it for one of his videos, and then weeks or months later, he got hit with a copyright claim because the person that created that track had used AI that had been trained on his own stuff. This is where we're at right now. It's crazy. I've talked a lot about different concerns about AI.
Right, that had nothing to do with the AI and everything to do with the weird YouTube algorithm fucking shit.
Music.
Like, I'm looking forward to when I have to trim out the Anthony Fantano. No, Anthony Fantano isn't copyright struck my other Anthony Fantano videos. So I'm pulling it back, right? I'm not going to accuse Anthony of doing something that he didn't do and wouldn't do. I don't expect it to. Ed Zitron, on the other hand, fuck that guy.
But are there any positives to it? For me, there's 4 really big positives to this. Number 1,
Keytar Bear and Sex Squatch, right? It was right there. Or is Sex Squatch over? Have we gone beyond Sex Squatch anymore?
if you can't tell already, it's a blast. To express yourself, whether it's rage or fun or joy, you can express yourself by writing lyrics yourself or having AI help you with the lyrics, and then coming up with stuff that you can send to friends, make memes, make shorts and reels for videos.
Even another thing, Paradigm writes raps. Paradigm hit me up with some raps and asked me what I thought. I took them over to Suno. I made a little song. I didn't publish it because it's his music, right? So it's kept in the dark hole where no one can see it. But then I took the one that I thought sounded good. It had a good pacing to it, and I sent him that back so that he could hear. And this is what I, would recommend. If you are a writer of music and you want to hear the musical pacing of your lyrics, putting them into the AI allows you to, get ideas that you wouldn't have thought of because you're in your own head. Like, that's just how that works. And you get stuck. And the AI will hit you off with some weird shit like I was talking about earlier. Like, try it out as country. Even if you're not going to do it as country, it gets your brain out of the rut that it gets in.
But I can also see it being used for things like conferences and business and presentations and corporate events and birthdays, things like that. So that's the first one. It's just fun. Number 2 is it's so easy
How dare
to
you
make
have
stuff
fun.
for videography, like in this YouTube video. I've done it several times. And it gives you something to kind of put down as a bed behind your dialogue. And this saves money and time, and it saves you from having to worry about copyright
hire an artist.
Infringement and royalties and all that stuff. Number 3, I talked about earlier, it's really easy to take a song and pull the stems from it, like just the drums or just the guitar part or just the vocals. It really works well, and it is great for exercises like our On the Hook games each week. We'd say, hey, here's a guitar solo, here's the sound of me hitting a trash can, and here's a bird. Put those together and make an R&B song in 1 hour. AI music is perfect for that. But lastly is something that I think a lot of people don't talk about. It can be a great inspiration for seeding your next song. So whether it's the chord progression,
no creativity, only Zool,
or the groove, or the vibe, or the instrumentation, or the production, or the melody. There might be parts of the melody that you're like, oh, that's fire. I want to flesh out that melody idea. So it can be great for songwriting when you're stuck. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and liking the video. Actually, do me a favor and share this with somebody. I'm currently right at about 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm fairly new at YouTube still, and I would love to get to...
Fuck you, dude. Sorry. I have 181 viewers or subscribers on YouTube. You should subscribe to my YouTube. It costs you nothing. Just go down there and hit subscribe.
10,000 by the end of the year, and you could really help me with that, so thank you up front. I'm considering making a tutorial video on how I kind of made the videos in this video. If that's something you think would be helpful, put that in the comments below, and if I get enough comments on that, I will do that, and I'll put the link in the show notes below. I better sign off now because the sun's shining through my tiny little sun visor that won't go all the way. There's nothing I can do about it. Is there though?
Squinting so hard, I'm guessing the lanes. Left turn, blinker on for the whole freeway. Glare so bright, I'm blind and inspired. Swerving through life.
extenders.
Shade in my eyes with the Taco Bell bag.
Or fuck, you get one of them chip clips and a piece of cardboard if you don't want to buy a whole fucking thing, you know. I like his whole vibe, right? Clothespin, right? Get a clothespin, do that thing. Do we want to do another video about AI and music? All this shit. So much content. Or should we call it a day? I think we're gonna call it a day, actually. But I think I might do a stream tomorrow morning. Not a news stream, some videos. 10:30 a.m. to 12, right into James. And we'll do some more video content. If you want to show up for that, let's see what we got going on. And I said, what about breakfast epiphanies? She said, I think I remember the film. And as I recall, I think we both kind of liked it. And I said, well, that's one thing we've got.
There was a bunch of nothing, gibberish. Flip-flopical, flip-topological, flip-snobicals. It was a bunch of gibberish, bro.
That was rude. You're so rude. You're so rude. It was well timed. It was well timed. That's right, Raptor Blue. They're doing content. They're not playing video games. Appreciate you all. I will be back tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. We'll do some more content, and then I'll be back Monday morning with the news, so on and so forth. Stay safe out there, especially if you're going to a thing tomorrow. Make sure you take care of yourself. Watch your back. Protect your neck. Head on a swivel. Best behavior. Follow the rules. You know what the rules are. If you don't know what the rules are, find out from people who do know what the rules are. Go watch Rhizome. Rhizome's been doing some really good content, and the community has been generating a lot of good advice in that regard if you're going to do the thing. Yeah, shout out Rhizome. Also, shout out their mod who gave me a sub, because again, Rhizome has the best email or emotes on Twitch. Take care of yourselves. I appreciate you all. And in the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you forgot, and always remember that Chuggy loves you. And so do I. Be great.